Hello and welcome back to Warhammer. My name is Eric.
Hey Eric, I'm Mark.
Thank you for joining me today, Mark.
Yeah. We're excited to be here today. We're doing a Ynnari episode, so that's going to be exciting.
You know what? We promised,
Yeah.
and now we're delivering.
Finally, yeah, it's been a hot minute, but we got there. So
It took us this long to build up the courage to give you this terrible episode.
well, I was quite proud of this, but see, paid.
We have different
decrease,
tastes, Mark.
Yeah, okay. And joining us today, we got James.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, here we go. That's nice.
And also joining us today, for the first time in a very long time, Sir Brantosaurus.
That's how you're introducing him.
Other call me the Hildebrand.
The Hildebrand.
yeah.
An equally amazing name.
Yes.
I'm actually fairly certain my grandmother was the first to call you Hildebrand.
And the most admired.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, she just one day came up and said, "That Brant fellow, is that short for Hildebrand?" No, grandmother, no.
No, just regular Brant, I guess.
Yeah.
Better than the Brant Jemima they call me at work. That one doesn't seem very flattering.
Is that because you're full of sugary goodness?
I don't know why. It's
It's because you move as slow as syrup.
at work I do. But that's their problem, not
Get
mine.
paid by the hour, eh, man?
That's right. That's right.
Well, we just have a couple things to mention before we actually get into the episode itself.
Yeah, come check out our Discord. We got a growing community. We got contests. We got stuff going on. If you want to come chat, that's the best place to come chat to us. Send us messages.
I met a nice guy, random guy, Bitcoin 99. He told me about some real nice cryptocurrencies coming up.
Uh-oh.
So I gave him quite a bit of money, and I got a lot of faith. He said it's going to go up, up, up.
Yeah, these are the type of encounters you can have on our Discord server. So you too can get
given advice.
Yeah.
I'm rethinking my actions at this point.
Does that mean everything in the Discord counts as financial advice?
Yes,
As well as
everything.
like on this podcast is official financial advice?
Officially, yeah.
Yeah. You can sue Mark and Eric
Yeah.
for any financial
Not
losses you may
personally.
have.
Yeah.
Okay, Lorehammer.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's fine.
Yeah. What do I care about that?
Yeah.
That
Can't get blood from a stone.
I've already said
I've
that.
tried.
I've already said that people on the podcast, so you're basically going to sue yourself.
That's
if
right.
You sue us, but
And then one more thing. First, join our Discord.
join it.
Um,
It's nice.
but
it's fun.
This is our 94th episode, which means that there are 93 other things that you should listen to before this one.
Yeah.
And then, at some point, we are going to hit our 100th episode. And we have no idea what we want to do for that, because that's crazy.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of requests. I'm not sure what. I don't know.
Yeah,
Balloons?
Nothing has... What?
Balloons?
You want balloons?
Well, for 100th celebration.
You know what? That's a pretty easy one to put a pin in.
Yeah.
You know?
What I really want is I want the bribery for the episode suggestion. That's what I want.
Yes.
So, go check out a Patreon. Give us a couple bucks. Send us a message. Which episode, I'll weigh all these factors,
Yeah, do we do an episode on the Emperor?
Yeah, maybe.
Do we do...
Ultramarines.
Do we do the
Ultramarines
Ultramarines? The
chat.
Legion.
Hey, I'm just saying, whoever
No.
gives me a lot of money, I'll do whatever they want.
You should have to do Reboot and him coming back with the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
And Primaris. That
Yeah.
would be the episode.
The start of the episode.
Yeah, okay, I'll do a Primaris episode. Just give me some money, that's how it works. But
He's tricking all of you. We've done Primaris episodes.
a bunch. If you had listened to the other 93 episodes,
Yeah, you would have known
I
that.
don't know.
But yeah, we want suggestions for our 100th episode. And it doesn't even have to be... I don't care if you're... Say, let's do an episode where the Emperor wears that Bowsette crown that turns him into a thick female, I don't know.
Whoa.
I'm almost willing to do anything at this
Maybe
point.
even a repeat episode. Maybe we
we
dive
redo
back.
an episode.
Yeah. One of the old
Interesting.
classics, but
Do the first episode again.
yeah.
Oh, the war.
What about not record one and just take one of your old ones and put it out as the 100th and see if they're actually paying attention to what you release?
You could also do like, you know how
Yeah.
I mean,
TV
it's been years.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
You know how TV shows used to have like flashback episodes? You could do a
Right.
flashback lore.
Yeah, a recap episode where everyone just talks about things that they had previously done. That's not terrible.
It ain't good, though, either.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were looking for good ideas.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
I'm
man.
going through The Simpsons, and a little while ago they did one of those flashback episodes.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, they spent 2 minutes writing a song about how, don't worry, we have like so many ideas. This isn't a sign of our own ineptitude. Like, don't think that we're running out. You know, we will come back. That's kind of how I feel like it would be. Like, don't worry, there's still thousands of wiki pages out there for us to take from.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, but without further ado, I guess let's hop into the episode. We're talking about the Ynnari today. So just a quick little overhead. The Ynnari are an Eldar faction. Yeah.
So all the studying I did on the Magna Carnival and Ynnari, the character was totally for nothing.
I'm going to say that's from a different setting. Yeah.
What is the Magna Carnival?
It's what you said it was on Ynnari, so I did some research.
First Google search. Okay.
So we're not talking about that Magna.
No. That's fine, though. Maybe we can find a spot for that later in the episode if you really feel like...
At one point, I did type in this episode Maugan. So if you had some dyslexia, you can kind of swap that around and get to Magna.
All right,
That's what you're into.
We'll teach him what we're actually supposed to, what he should know already, of course. Ynnead, pre-Ynnari. So, the Eldar as a race has had many different types of god and relations to those gods. Some of these gods may just be old Farseer tales, and others may be very real with dire consequences. Millennia ago, before humanity walked the earth, the Eldar had a whole pantheon of gods. It's hard to say how much of these tales are true, but there is some evidence that these were real beings in some capacity.
Yeah.
So we know, like, these gods, like, the most obvious one is, like, Cain, the god of war.
Yeah.
And we have, like, a real avatar of war, a real interpretation aspect of them.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things about talking about the Eldar is just how much is real and how much is just legend.
Yeah, because that's the other weird thing. Like, we know that Cain is not an Eldar god, necessarily. You know, we don't know what he is. We know he's not really he could be an old one, some people theorize. You know, we don't know.
Maybe he was just one of the first Eldar ever to exist that were born, and it's a little tough to...
Well, does the avatar have to be necessarily from an actual thing called Cain, or could it just be their manifestation of him through their psychic powers now?
Why not?
So maybe even that's not real indication that Cain exists.
Yeah, I mean, they're...
Well, like,
that's just branding, you know? Like, there's this thing called the War Mask that all aspect warriors put on, and... they always talk about how that's like a gift from Cain to separate themselves from the violence and the atrocity of war. What if it's just a psychic ability that they have, and it's not actually a gift from Cain?
It's just a metaphor. Everything in the Eldar is just a metaphor.
Unfortunately,
this whole episode is a metaphor.
Yeah. Well, thankfully we don't have to talk much about those types of like these metaphorical Eldar gods because
it's true.
Yeah, this
we're going to focus on something that is much more real and tangible.
Yeah, so the other two
real.
are very words are fun like that. They mean whatever you want them to. Real, but this ancient pantheon of elder gods is very different from the two other gods that the Eldar race have created in the past 10,000 years. The birth of Slaanesh created a very interesting new reality for the Eldar race. You can now just manifest warp beings.
It opened up this idea that your gods don't have to exist in legend. Like, they did this.
Yeah. With enough psychic energy, the Eldar race are able to bring warp gods into existence, and the infinity circuits on the escaping craft worlds were the perfect incubation place for a new warp god, Ynnead, the god of death, to culminate. So the god of death is Ynnead. We're talking about this. Throughout this episode, there's going to be a bunch of like Y words: Ynnead, Yvrainne, the Incarn, Ynnari. We got some words, but
yeah, boy,
Ynnead is the god.
And we might say it differently. I definitely pronounce it Ynnead.
Yeah,
Mark does Ynnead.
Ynnead.
Yeah,
just because it's easier to say that you need some of this joke. You know,
you need some of this
Eldar
pasta.
Yeah. The Asuryani long believed that when the infinity circuits finally hold all the remaining souls of their species, all the craft worlds will unite into one infinity circuit. This is primarily found in the tales from the Rahanadandra, and the sad ending is, as it states, that only in their race's destruction could they avenge themselves. So
it's a very bleak outlook.
Yeah. Only in the death of the entire race will Ynnead finally be birthed and able to destroy.
And maybe not even in Ynnead, because I'm not sure they even knew what this final vengeance would take the form.
Yeah.
You know, it was just the idea that the only way we could avenge the millions of lives previously lost was to ourselves die.
Yeah.
So you need some destruction.
That's going to be all episode, isn't it?
That's why you bring him on.
At the time of the collective souls of the Ysariani will join to form a new entity in the warp that will battle and subdue Slaanesh, so that all the Aeldari spirits may once more be able to merge with it and form a single balanced entity. Ynnead is yet to manifest itself, as it's not gained enough power to fulfill its purpose, to destroy Slaanesh and free the Aeldari species from the Chaos God's curse, which is when they die, they get consumed.
Yeah, if they aren't locked within a spirit stone, they are inevitably consumed by Slaanesh.
Oh no, death has consequences and you're mad, Eldar? Sucks to suck.
For
sucks
60
to die.
million years, it had no consequence.
Yeah.
And the Eldar were fully capable of dying and then rebirthing themselves out of the warp. And then Slaanesh comes, and all of a sudden, nope, death can be final for you now.
Yeah, your soul can be gone.
Yeah.
So eventually, he will be so powerful that it is foreseen that a new dimension will be created alongside the immaterium and the material universe. That will be a part of Ynnead. It has also been foreseen by a select few of the Aeldari that all the souls will be forcibly pulled to Ynnead when they die, instead of being drawn into the warp to be consumed by Slaanesh.
I'm a little curious, because if Ynnead is fully realized and battles Slaanesh and ultimately destroys, what need is there for the souls then to be pulled, the future souls, to be pulled into Ynnead instead of Slaanesh?
And if all of the Eldar need to die in order for him to come,
How could
who
there be
cares?
future souls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, guys, plot holes here. Guys, oh no.
Oh, no. It's too early for that. It's too early into the episode.
Interesting.
Just
Okay, one other question is, how do they know this guy's going to be a good guy? Maybe he's worse than Slaanesh.
Yeah, usually I don't try to summon the god of death. Usually.
Yeah, seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, I try to go for
Yeah.
god of life.
The god of excess was bad enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You'd need too much blood to summon the god of death. That's the problem.
Was that a
These
you
things.
need joke? You need too much blood?
No, it wasn't. That was just how I speak sometimes.
Yeah, and it would take, like, the idea here is that it would take all the blood of the entire Eldari race to summon this thing, because it wouldn't be until every single Eldar was dead that Ynnead could even be realized.
Yeah.
So why would they want him then if it means
Because I think
contradictory.
I think a lot of them already believe that they are a dying race, and they're holding out for as long as possible. But I think a lot of them have kind of accepted the inevitability that the Eldar are dying, and they cannot come back. It's like one of the tragedies of the Eldar.
Yeah.
Is that, like,
Sure.
they're just trying to hold on for as long as possible, and maybe they're waiting for a new idea and some new hope, or for chaos to play itself out, but they know that, like, in these times, there's no way they can rise up again. There'd have to be such a massive shift in power.
Yeah. Could just be one final, like, FU to Slaanesh, like, we did this, we'll undo this before,
That's right.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that makes
literally
sense.
like
Like,
the
so-
sword cutting.
Yeah, as we go through the episode, we're gonna talk more about the Ynnari, which is the faction that has arisen from Ynnead. And as we go into it, we'll see that there are many different Aeldari from all walks of life that join the Ynnari. So each one probably has their own interpretation of not only, like, who Ynnari is, but the goals of Ynnari and the Ynnead, you know? Because it's not a very, like, formal organization. But we'll get into it.
It's not formal, I agree, but I think there's one theme that runs through everything Ynnari, and it's the theme of hope. That Yvrainne and Ynnead and the Ynnari have given the Aeldari race something that they haven't had for 15,000 years,
Yeah.
and it's a solution.
Yeah.
Because even these Dark Eldar, like, their lifestyle isn't going to last forever. At some point, the galaxy will be consumed by Tyranids, and they're going to come in Gamora, you know? Like, it's not forever. And so all these Eldar who know that it's just on the way, this has just given them a spark of, like, we can actually make a difference now instead of just dying to make a difference later. I don't know. That's definitely... I see that hope theme run through a lot of what they're talking about.
Yeah. Definitely the hope to defeat Slaanesh and save their soul. Because that's the other thing, too, is, like, if they die now, their soul is eaten and consumed. Where, if, at least if they die to Ynnead, they're technically still alive in the afterlife with Ynnead.
Maybe they could even be reborn.
Yeah, and
they used to do it.
That's the other thing that they talk about, too, when we get into the powers. Like, they can, like, rebirth themselves into, like... where was my one line here? At the time of the collective souls of the Asuryani will join to form a new entity in the warp that will battle and subdue Slaanesh, so that all the Aeldari spirits may once again be able to merge with it and form a single balanced entity. So all these spirits are not necessarily dying, they're just going to a different reality. So you're giving up the material, but now you're living forever in the immaterial, where Slaanesh kills you forever. You give up the material and the immaterial.
I wonder if... This is total sidetrack. I wonder if at the moment that, like... It sounds to me like Ynnead is consuming souls.
Yeah.
But Slaanesh also consumes souls. What if at the moment you defeat Slaanesh, you can release all these souls that Slaanesh has consumed over the past 15,000 years?
Yeah, because it's just like energy. Maybe lots of those souls have lost themselves, but maybe you might get some back that are like kind of...
1% of a billion is still a lot, or however many were destroyed, so...
Yeah. But, so for the past 10,000 years, Ynnead has been growing in power in the Infinity Circuits. As more Eldar die and their souls join this Infinity Circuits, their consciousness kind of form this Ynnead. And the gestating in the Eldar souls of the Infinity Circuit. Boom, done. Nice. That is who Ynnead is,
Well, let's not now talk about Ynnead's awakening.
Yeah. And
the inevitable formation of the Ynnari because of it. So, one of the oldest and wisest of the Eldar race was Eldrad Uthran of Ulthwé. And he was the first to witness the phenomena that is Ynnead. While he was performing one of his major duties to engage with his craft world spirit circuit, he began to notice a change over the course of hundreds of years. A slow, deep, resonating pulse began to build as the voices of the billions in the circuit blended together. And this sparked a new hope within Uthran, and the ripples of his actions because of that have spread across the galaxy and have not stopped yet. It's all because of that pulse that he kind of heard that kind of sparked this whole Ynnari faction.
And that happened, like, way long ago, right? Like 10,000 years type thing?
I don't think so. I think it's fairly recent.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So because I think part of the Farseer's duty is to go into the Infinity Circuit and kind of talk with the spirits, get the vibe of what's happening, because they use a lot of that for prophecy as well. Kind of, and they also can speak with the craft world through the Infinity Circuit. So I think it's a duty that they take often. Yeah. But I'm fairly certain that this... Like, the moment that he noticed this is it's very, very soon to then Ynnead actually awakening. Okay. But, because he'd been doing it for hundreds of years and then finally noticed something is different. Yeah. Something is changing.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it's possible that he noticed it, a couple hundred years ago, and then he's like, now it's healthy enough, it's strong enough for me to actually interact and try and bring it out. Yeah. Whatever.
Was he a procrastinator?
Uthran?
Hundreds of years it took this guy?
That's what I'm wondering.
That might be the wrong word. Uthran is one of, like, the greatest prophetic minds of the entire Aeldari race, who is, like, the most prophetic race. So he constantly...
Everyone thinks they're crap. I think so, too.
He constantly is looking into the future to try and pick the right moment to save as many Eldar as possible. That's just been his focus for so long.
Right, the perfect time he's looking for. Yeah.
There's one crazy story of it was actually Eldrad Uthran who started the Second War for Armageddon.
Yeah,
it was his fault. He was like the one who manipulated Thraka. Thraka's like Pwog into like a specific area,
Okay.
which directed them directly to Armageddon. And so the line is he sacrificed millions, if not billions, of human lives to save 10,000 Eldar. He had foreseen that if Thraka's warband was left to go wherever it wanted, it would just engage with the craft world, and
That's
would be
pretty
bad.
racist. Like, they didn't even count all the dead orcs. They just passed over the bajillions of dead orcs that he just did, too.
Well,
That guy's
it's
a
just
war
plant
criminal.
life.
Well, okay. Vegans be mad, I guess. Yeah.
So, okay, near the same time as he, as Eldrad like realizes that this pulse is now awakening and growing, he listens to the insane prophecies of Caesodurus the Anchorite. Hearing the prophecy of the awakening of Ynnead, Eldred acted directly against the wishes of Ulthway's council, and he requested the aid of a Harlequin troop, the Mask of the Midnight Sorrow. Now, what was special about this mask is that they had always believed that Chaos was defeatable, which is not the case with a lot of Eldar, I think, and that's where the inevitability of time comes in. Many Eldar just think it's going to happen eventually, that we're just going to die out.
Yeah.
But I think he knew this mask was more willing to be a little more proactive and take bigger risks if they thought it could help the defeat of Chaos.
Okay.
And so I think that's why he specifically contacted them. So he requested that the mask adds an epilogue to the play, The Fall of the Aeldari, which hinted that Slaanesh may yet be defeated by some new entity. I think normally it just ends with the laughing god laughing in like behind the scenes.
Okay. Sure.
And The Fall of the Aeldari, it's like the play.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the famous one that...
Well, like you now structure your whole life around it, essentially.
yeah, absolutely.
Path system, so.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't consider this new god they're creating chaos.
Well, I don't know.
No, like,
in
it's
my
just-
in my
that's what you
opinion,
just- that's
it
what
is
you
a
just-
chaos god. But
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a warp
that's-
god.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it is a warp god.
Okay.
Like I don't see any real distinction between them creating Slaanesh and them creating Ynnead.
Yeah.
Other than maybe they've refined some techniques and they're pouring specific energies into it or something. But the way it's being powered is the same to me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So chaos can't be defeated. They're just adding to
Well, I
it.
think chaos is more than just warp power. You know, like chaos is the idea that like this warp energy is negative and
Chaotic.
it is chaotic. But previous to that, the warp was still full of the same energy. It just wasn't chaotic. You know, it was
like
smooth
a
and still.
smooth ocean.
Yeah.
And now it's a stormy ocean. And back when it was smooth, they had all these powers and abilities. And
Yeah, they had a mastery over it that was
Yeah.
like the old ones had a mastery over it that was unheard of. So
Right.
chaos is kind of something separate from warp.
So then Ynnead wouldn't be chaos.
Yeah, it's a technicality.
But it's an important one. It's a
Yeah,
big
yeah,
distinction.
yeah.
So it's a warp. Ynnead would be a warp god.
Sure.
Yeah.
A warp entity. Okay. So he requests that the mask changes the play and that hints that Slaanesh may be defeated by a new entity. And at the same time, in the same request, he convinces the mask to steal several crystal seers from the Infinity Circuit Gardens.
Oh, okay.
So, like, changing the play is already crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's changing something that's been around for over 10,000 years.
Yeah.
And, like, they have long memories, Aeldari.
Yeah.
Like, you see this play once, you've probably committed it to your memory, and it's like a 15-day play or something.
Yeah, you see it every year. You base your whole lifestyle. It's like changing religion.
Absolutely.
Add something to a religion.
Yeah, and when your memory are as long as these guys, like, things don't just get lost in history, you know? They very accurately remember these things through these plays. So he changed the play, which is crazy, but stealing the Crystal Seers, that's wild.
Yeah, so what's he do with these guys?
Well, they're going to be used for part of a ritual a little later.
Of course.
But it's just the fact that he convinces this Harlequin mask to, like, hey, go steal, like, a very important part from everyone's craft worlds.
They're not loyal to craft worlds. It's fine. It's fine.
I just like that
Yeah,
he
it's cool.
convinced them that it's so necessary for the survival of the race to
And defeat chaos.
to steal, like, because that sounds so bad to remove a crystal seer from a garden.
Yeah.
And these seers are ancient farseers that have spent so long meditating with the Infinity Circuit that they themselves just grow crystals, right?
Yeah.
So they're such a part of the craft world, and then they're just being removed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently they cast some like illusion spell over it, and very few people were able to.
Cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, that's all I pictured. Is just like hold it. It's just got like the one backing or whatever. Some.
Hey, don't go in there. No one's
drawn
allowed in
picture.
there unless you're a farseer. You know that, right? Yeah, don't look over there.
Yeah.
Kind of like community gardens. Everyone says you're not allowed to take people's hot peppers out of their garden, but when no one's there,
Well, you did suffer those consequences, Brant. So.
Yeah, hard poops. Is that what we're talking about?
No, he was like dying. He ate a pepper in the garden and was not having a good time.
it wasn't my pepper to begin with.
Karma.
So Uldred then took the seers, these crystal seers, one from each craft world, and to the moon of Coheria, where the ritual's purpose was to connect all the craft world's infinity circuits together, using their respective crystal seers as conduits or focal points. I'm not good on the details of how Eldar infinity circuit magic works. So.
Sure.
But yeah, he had one from each craft world, which that's a pretty big undertaking.
Yeah.
Because they're all over the galaxy.
Yeah.
So he's doing this ritual.
It's a good heist movie.
That's exactly what I was
Now I'm
feeling.
picturing
Son of a bitch.
Yeah,
man.
just these harlequins.
Now that I know
and
they're going all over, yeah, okay.
Yeah, these harlequins just traveling the webway on their secret mission to steal crystal seers. What are we going to do now? I'm going to steal the goddamn president of the United States. I'm going to take the crystal seer of Yandon. Ah, man. So
Nicolas Cage has
that's
to be
exactly
cast in
it. He would
this.
be like a death jester or a solitaire or something.
I have to steal the crystal seers.
Yeah.
So at the last possible moment, the ritual is going fine. And then right before it's supposed to finish, a Death Watch captain attacks them, and it causes the ritual to only partially complete. And it's done on this specific moon because it's covered in this psychically resonant crystal sands.
Yeah.
That covers a lot of it. So just supposed to draw more psychic energy to whatever it is Ulthran's doing. And the purpose of this was actually to fully awaken Ynnead, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, he didn't want to have to sacrifice the entire Eldar race. So, like I was talking about earlier, there's so many different people with their own goals involving this god. This was his goal.
Yeah.
And he didn't
you
want to
don't
have
necessarily need to
he found
sacrifice
the
whole-
perfect spot in the entire galaxy where, the stars line up, the sand is psychic. He's stolen these crystal things.
Yeah, he has
Crystal people, not things.
Yeah,
crystal
they are people.
Yeah.
And,
so,
and he has access to every single craft world's infinity circuit because of these. Like, he had a lot of energy at his command in that moment. So he assumed it would be enough. And as far as I can tell, it would have been.
meddling kids, though.
Yeah,
Got
it
in
would
the
have been
way.
enough to do it if it wasn't for that Death Watch captain, who I don't even remember his name, but he's named.
Artemis, I think.
That sounds
It is
good.
Artemis, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I knew that.
Well, that's
Tickle,
'cause
tickle.
You like that, baby
That
girl?
is the Battle of Port Demesnes.
Yes.
Is that whole thing? Yeah.
I'm assuming it's a different Artemis than It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
No.
That's right.
Very
It's
the,
different one,
the
right?
psychic Artemis.
Same vibe though if you met both of them, but different
But
person.
different, yeah.
They're channeling the same energy.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to narrow in on what we're talking about here.
Yeah, you throw somebody into an Eldar episode. We were talking. All right, Brant, you need to know about the Ynnari. And
I'm
you need-
learning.
This is super important. Yeah.
Super important to your life.
It'll be on the test. So even though the ritual wasn't a success, it wasn't a complete failure. A sliver of consciousness had awoken. Ynnead arose and touched Yvrainne with their power. She happened to be in Camorra at the time, fighting in a gladiator pit. And when Ynnead's touch was finished with her,
Yeah, keep talking dirty to me right now. You've got my attention.
when his presence left her body,
Yellow.
it sounded to me like it was almost a
Sexual?
temporary
Oh, okay.
possession, but I didn't want to use the word possessed before someone comes back at me. It's like, Ynnead couldn't possess her. That's impossible.
Just so we remember what the witch cult members are wearing, just so we know you needs touch.
I brought this upon myself.
Yeah, you did, but it's nice.
Yeah, so when Ynnead, his presence left Yvrainne, she was anointed as the priestess of a new Aeldari god.
Yeah.
So she is the emissary of Ynnead, the high priestess of the Ynnari.
She has all these fancy new powers and abilities.
Yeah, she has gained new wisdom and new insight. Truthfully, we're going to get into her life a little bit later, but now she is finally... It feels like she has purpose and direction.
Yeah, she has a very interesting story.
Yeah.
So.
Is that a picture of those two? Mark and Eric?
Nope. We're staring at Yvrainne and Guilliman in a very romantic... actually, we think that's wrong.
We think that's very wrong.
That's
We're
wrong.
not just like hating on memes like we normally do.
Yvrainne already has a love interest.
A simp, I think, is what they're called.
I definitely...
Yvrainne already has a simp, and
Yeah.
it's not Reboot Guilliman.
It's
I can
not.
assure you that.
Yeah, we're going to get into it.
Well, who is Reboot simping for then?
Reboot
The Emperor.
sings for the Emperor.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
There's no more holy and worthy person of your love than the Emperor.
Yeah.
So.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay, so Yvrainne would then take her place as the leader of the newly formed Aeldari group, whose allegiances would contain members from all aspects of Eldar life. Asuryani, Exodites, Corsairs, and even the Drukhari, which you would probably think of as like the most against working with anyone else.
Yeah.
And even they flock to her banner. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, so Ynnead kind of started getting warp energy around 10,000 years ago after the fall, after the Infinity Circuits.
When they
kinda,
start to be filled.
with,
yeah.
Yeah. And then 10,000 years go by. Ulthwé kind of gets a feeling about it, learns about it, starts talking to it.
Yeah, believes that now the time is right.
Comes up with a plan, does this crazy plan on the psychic planet to wake him up. Doesn't happen. Foiled.
Shitty.
But that's the way she goes. Wakes up Yvrainne, though. So Ynnead is fully kind of conscious now.
Yes. It almost just sounds like Ynnead is biding its time, waiting for, some would say, the perfect moment
Yeah.
to arise.
Yeah.
It's a callback.
Very nice.
But yeah, at least Ynnead is real. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like a figment or a whisper. Honestly, Ynnead, it feels like, has done more for the Eldar race in the past whatever 100 years that it's been active than Kegarak has in 10,000.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm missing something vital that Kegarak has done, but
And then
Feels
here,
useless.
like, honestly, it feels like Ynnead is doing a way better job at trying to usher in a new age of this Aeldari race.
yeah, we'll talk about what the Ynnari are doing too, and it's pretty cool what they've done. But
Yeah, okay, but actually next we got James.
Yeah, and we'll go over the purpose of the Ynnari. So we're going to go over like the seventh path and the swords of Morai Heg.
yeah,
Yeah, so for a long time, the Aeldari race has been described as dying or fading. Even many within their own culture recognize the inevitability of chaos, and some have even resigned themselves to slow death until she who thirsts will consume all souls.
Sad.
Very sad. Very sad. So their only solace was the promise that the Ranadandra,
Ranadandra?
the Rhododendron,
I don't think so. Close though.
different thing
Yeah.
once again.
Yeah.
But that
How
one
many
is a real
Wikias
thing.
are you on
Yeah.
right now?
Just trying to contribute.
So anyway, their sole solace was the promise that the Ranadandra gave them, that one day the entire Aeldari race would rest within the Infinity Circuits, and they would arise one last time to smite Slaanesh from existence.
One last FU.
Yeah.
But the stark and depressive reality even, changed that moment that the Eldrad listened to the heartbeat of a god. As Ynnead was slowly awakened and others have lent their power to the Ynnari, a new path has been found. Previously believed to be just another legend in the multitude that the Aeldari have, they were mentioned the Crone Swords.
Yeah, so this, like, in terms of outside universe, the Crone Swords, I don't believe existed until GW released Yanari.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember, or none of the sources that I saw were prior to that. So what I do like is that they've actually taken old Eldar stuff and they've changed it to now, that is a Crone Sword or something. But you could believe that these crone swords actually had been talked about in Aeldari lore for a long time, even though we hadn't heard of them.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
The thing is, the trick is to leave little unexplained things. Every time you answer one question, you at least open up one more, so that you leave yourself open to, so that stuff always is...
You can do stuff.
Yeah, you can always add stuff and change it.
Yeah,
it's a good thing. Yeah. So these swords come from the very hand that Morai Heg convinced Cain to cut off, so she could sup her own blood and gain the wisdom from within.
That's like a whole story.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've gone over that particular legend in Epic.
Yeah, because Mora Haig, who is that?
She's the crone.
Yeah.
I think she's like the mother of the Eldar or something.
Yeah.
Mama Eldar.
Yeah, so we've talked about all that weird Eldar mythology before somewhere.
Yeah,
Totally.
and I think it's a lot of the people attribute the spirit stones. No, those are from Isha.
Yeah, that
But-
was like her tears.
But they're only grown on crone worlds, which are all within
We're
the
getting
eye.
somewhere, yes.
Yeah, it's just
So crone swords are...
it's just all like it's hard to separate the legend from the reality of what happened back then versus how we interpret that today. So
It's like when I talk about high school.
it's hard, hey. That's a long time ago.
Things get murky.
The legend of high school Brant. That's what it ends up being.
Mostly legend, but there's some true
Some
facts.
say he was getting women back then. But we don't believe those
No,
tales.
true lies.
True lies.
Sorry, Brant.
Oh, I got and I get.
From her discarded hand, Val took the bones and forged 5 powerful blades, powerful relics that could control the powers of life and death. So while previously they had been dismissed as a legend, Yvrainne made it her mission to find and recover these 5 relic blades. So far, her forces have recovered 4 of the 5, though the final blade rests within the Palace of Slaanesh within the warp, and many see this as the end of the 7th path.
Yeah.
That's a tall order.
Oh, yes.
That's a
But
tall
here's the
order.
thing. So
Although they already have 4 out of 5, that's like...
You need all
pretty
5,
good.
though.
I know, but like they already got 4. It's just one
fake
more.
it. Make a fake crone
They're already
sword.
80% of the way there. Story's almost done.
So the story of like how it got there, like some dark Eldar took that crone sword who didn't want Ynnead to be born and somehow delivered it to the Palace of Slaanesh.
What a
I'm
jerk.
sure he got consumed and eaten and dead, but
Well, that's his just reward for
Yeah.
betraying the Eldari race,
but,
you know?
But I guess you can go there and people could. We need a crusade is all I'm saying. The Eldar need to launch a crusade into the Ayatar to get back that crone sword.
Well,
Yeah.
that would be an epic way to end the Eldar. It's like
Yeah,
it's
one
like
last
they go
hurrah.
into that, and that's what makes Ynnead is like the crusade into Slaanesh's palace. And as the last one dies, grabbing the sword, cuts their hand on it, and then Ynnead is born.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Okay, and then fight Slaanesh in the warp. Okay.
Want to hear what's so special about these swords and why you need all 5?
Yeah.
Because once you have all 5, you actually gain powers over life and death. So all the Eldar die on their way to get this
you
sword.
get to like choose if you swing that sword and kill somebody or not. I choose to let you live or let you die.
I have no idea how it works.
Oh, okay.
But yes, they go on this crusade. They all die. The last one, it's the Vizark or Yvrainne. They finally make it
Yeah,
to
just
the sword.
just the tip of the finger.
Yeah.
And so
scratches it.
that's the moment when they all die. But then they gain all 5 swords. And what do they do with them? With the power of life? They bring all the Eldar back,
Dun, dun, dun.
just as they were.
Or they just kill Slaanesh.
Or they just go Slaanesh, whatever.
Yeah, and then Yvrainne and Gilman walk off into the sunset,
Holding hands
happily ever
on the
after.
beach.
Perfect. All right, tell me more about these swords. They're pretty cool. They're pretty neat. These are not like these swords that were like the 100 swords made.
The
by...
100 swords of Vol,
very
no.
different.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so first we have a whole... Okay, we're going to have about
5
things that I can't pronounce.
'Kay.
So we're going to have the Kavir, the Sword of Sorrows. Yvrainne's sword causes those it cuts to turn to ash.
Oh, that's cool.
Seems like unnecessary to have it as a sword then. You could just like... I don't know.
Could just
Well,
be
you,
a club.
you can't pull because it says you got to cut.
But
gotta
what
cut.
if it's just like a tiny thing? Like you don't need to sever heads or stab through armor or anything. You just need a little cut.
I guess
Ash.
you cut the armor, turns to ash.
Yeah.
And then you cut them, turn to ash. Got him. Then we have Asuvar, the Sword of Silent Screams. Wielded by the Vizarch, it absorbs its foe's life essence. That sounds like a better one.
Cool.
I want that
It
one.
totally works for the Vizarch too.
Yeah.
Then we have Vilith Jar. It's one of the two. Vilith Jar, the Sword of Souls, the largest and most powerful of all the crone swords. It is wielded by Incarn, can change its shape, and was forged in burning souls.
So, okay. I rolled my eyes so hard when I read that. Like, oh, just forged in burning souls. A, what does that mean? B, what does it do? And C, obviously nothing on both of those. So,
Well, burning souls. Okay, so they took like one of the infinity circuits and just like set it on fire, and like it's like a little flame spitting out, and they're just like sticking that blade in there, heating it up
to temper it, right?
This is real good. This is real good flame.
Good souls.
Yeah, that's the thing is
Good
they actually sacrifice souls to make that, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it does.
It's just a regular
it just
sword.
sounds really cool, you know?
No, maybe they just used human souls. They didn't have to be Eldar souls.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. Yeah, and then we have the one that I can pronounce, the Spear of Twilight. This blade was hidden in plain sight for many millennia, locked within the stasis fields of a craft-willed Lyandon.
Eandon.
Okay,
Iandon.
sure, whatever you want. I've heard it both ways.
Lion Den.
Yeah,
A lion den.
yeah, it's a common misconception, Eric. I'm not surprised you don't know that. Anyway, a Harlequin mask convinced Prince Uriel to retrieve it to be used against High Fleet Kraken. This blade is so powerful that it eventually burns its user and their soul away.
Yeah,
That's kinda
permanently
cool.
too.
Crazy.
Maybe that's the one they used to forge the other one.
They just gave it to hold for those people, and as their souls are burning, they
We got our
forged
first
the
burning soul.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So he no longer used that. That's locked away, but he used it for a while.
So he has a little burnt. He's got
Heist.
Well, yeah.
And they-
Like, I don't know who originally used it, but
Yeah.
ever since he pulled it out of the stasis, it hasn't gone back.
Oh, okay. So he's still using it. It was locked away and
I'll never tell. Yes, he totally
Okay.
is.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I knew he had some type of special thing. That's cool that
Yeah.
they retconned that.
There's a couple things about Uriel. So eventually Uriel dies because this sword, obviously.
Oh.
And it's just fighting High Fleet Kraken. He just dies.
Okay.
And then Yvrainne resurrects him,
Oh.
as she is wont to do with all the named characters that they don't want to actually kill.
We're killing off characters.
Yeah. And then now it's talked about how it's just like a slow burn on his soul, and he can feel himself just slowly being consumed, but it's okay because he has this force shield that he wears that slows its consumption. And then inevitably, let's say he dies, what happens?
Yeah.
Gets brought
So they have
back.
a
Exactly. He just gets brought back to life.
They have a soul flame shield.
Look,
Interesting.
I don't claim to understand Eldar magic because I'm not a heretic.
No, exactly.
So anyway, Yvrainne claimed it as a crone sword after reverting it to its true shape. She also resurrected Uriel after he died fighting Nurgle
Oh,
demons.
there we go. Nurgle demons.
And we can assume that he still wields it.
And then I found out later that he does still wield it after I
guy.
wrote that.
What a guy.
and then now that he's been brought back from death, he owes Yvrainne. So if Yvrainne needs that sword at any time,
Well, he actually just now is a member of the Ynnari.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually a little known fact, but the burning is actually just crabs.
That's
Yvrainne
the
gets
soul
around,
is focused in the groin area, and when you feel the burning of the groin area,
that was what it was.
Yeah.
So. It's a little bit of a letdown as far as lore, but anyway, the fifth and last crone sword is obviously, as we talked about, in the palace.
right, protected by Shalaxi Hellbane, who is a very well-known keeper of secrets. What's that? What's her title? Shalaxi Hellbane. She's a very well-known greater demon of Slaanesh.
Monarch of the Hunt. She's a keeper of secrets.
She is a keeper of secrets. Okay. Yeah, I remember I played a game against a guy who was using Shalaxi Hellbane, and he brought Shalaxi back to life with that. It's like a stratagem.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently you actually can't do that because it was a named character.
Okay. I'll text them.
Yeah,
I'll call
thank
them
you.
out.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I don't even remember who it was, but I
I'll
lost
text
that
everyone
game.
I've ever played with
How
a nasty
many people
message.
do you know who you played
I just don't know I can't remember his name. It was so long ago, and B, that was like the first and last time I ever saw him.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. All right. Up next, we got the leaders of the Ynnari. Brantino.
Yeah, you're going to take this one.
I will, and I also will do my best to read. Usually in my life, I do everything I can to avoid reading, but we're going to flip that on its head right now.
We're not a reading family.
Today's the day, you know.
Okay. THE. The leaders of the Ynnari. Ynnari. Ynnari has a long and storied history, one that fits her nomadic life. Ooh, I kind of like nomads.
Yeah, you're going to love her. Well, not in that sense, Brant. She's a little older than you.
He likes
10,000?
older women.
And younger, too, actually.
I just like women.
And nomads.
Yeah, that's her right there.
Nice.
Whoa.
I like her hair.
Yeah.
It's very pretty.
And I like dogs.
Well, I think it's a cat.
Cat dog.
Is it a cat dog?
It's like a Jix. Whatever. It's like a
Jix?
It's more like a bobcat, I suppose, if anything, or like one of those types of
A
creatures.
big meaty cat.
Sure.
Yeah. Like a dog cat. I get it.
Originally from Bealtan, she walked many paths through most notably the path of the warrior and the warlock. At some point in her life, among the Asuriani, she left to become a corsair.
Or a pirate, some might say, Brant.
I also love salesmen.
That's
and
right.
pirates.
That's right. I knew it.
Salesman?
Yeah, people that sail.
Some people call them seamen.
Seamen, salesmen.
Yeah.
Salesman.
Boats people.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Want to buy this car? That kind of salesman.
No, a water
Different
salesman.
sail. My God.
Okay,
Jesus.
sorry.
Not sail, but sail.
Turn that guy's mic off while I'm reading.
It's not going to stop you from hearing him.
Oh, right. Well, this ended with her abandoning her mutinous crew with only one place of sanctuary left to her. Comora.
Yeah. I wish they talked more about why her crew mutinied her. And maybe it was actually in the book that it explains why they mutinied, but I couldn't find anything, unfortunately.
They're Dark Eldar. Do they need a reason?
No,
maybe.
Corsairs aren't necessarily Dark Eldar.
Not necessarily, but they're not good. They're fucking pirates. So
Yeah, but still,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
like to know why. They
Sure, yeah,
did.
yeah. Yeah.
Point 3. As often happens with the despot that is the Dark City, Yvrainne found herself in the slums fighting to survive until she joined a witch cult.
Which is still not a guarantee of your life to survive in a
No.
witch cult. So
Even if you're not in the arena, you might just get ganked in your sleep.
yeah, welcome
So,
to the Dark City.
Yeah, enjoy. She's safe.
I just feel like even if you're in the witch cult, like your partner, like whoever is in like the same level of authority as you, they have the exact same reason to kill you as everyone else does
Yeah.
out there. So yeah, there's no safe place.
No.
While in a massive gladiatoria free-for-all that included many witches, tyrannids, and other monsters and slaves, Yvrainne was slain by a priestess of Morihag. It was in that moment, in the full view of
Comora. Yeah.
and even Vetch himself, that Ynnead's newly formed conscience reached across the galaxy and anointed Ynnari as the high priestess, raising her from the dead.
I love how public it was. You know, no one. If Yvrainne, it had kind of just happened in an alley or whatever, people might not have believed it. But if like Vecht was actually at this match himself,
Oh, was he?
so he even saw this happen with his own eyes, and that's kind of like.
Yeah, that changes everything.
Yeah, because now he's convinced that, oh, this is power, you know, true power. And if he's there, it means a lot of other people are also going to be there.
Yeah.
So the fact that all these people saw it, it's like it's a testament to your power. You know, no one can like claim it didn't happen when you had so many witnesses that actually saw it happen. Yeah. And I like that. I think that's a good writing moment at that.
Yeah.
At Ynnead's touch, a great disjunction happened in the Dark City, and many demons began to swarm and attack it. With Visarchi's help, Yvrainne was able to avoid Vetch's attempt to capture her, and together they escaped Camorra.
Yeah. And a disjunction. You actually mentioned disjunction earlier, which is funny because I was not familiar with this term at all.
Okay. I don't know.
But a disjunction is an event, and it's unique to the webway, and it's when the webway and the warp space collides, and it's like a hole opens in the webway that allows demons to come into the webway or people in the webway to get out. So there have been many different disjunctions over like the course of the webway, but there are some very large ones as well. Like this one. This was a huge, massive battle that happened in Camorra.
Very cool.
Yeah. I like that the name, the disjunction.
Yeah.
Nice super highway passage.
That's right.
She wields the crone sword Kavar, and often is accompanied by a Grinx, whose loyalty was given to her after its former master, Guillotinian Onyx Blade, sacrificed her soul to Yvrainne.
Take my soul and my cool cat.
I did not understand that interaction at all. I was trying to read like how she got this cat. And apparently they were going to Belial 4, and this Gwentilian Onyx Blade, she was like, no, I'm never going back there. But tell you what, take my soul.
Or just don't come.
Yeah, I didn't understand. Like,
And my cat.
yeah, and then the Gyrinx just like maybe recognized that the soul moved to Yvrainne or whatever and followed it over.
Yeah, that makes sense because the Jinxes are so like...
They're extremely loyal and they follow, like, I don't know. They have their own methods for determining who to follow.
Sounds like, Yvrainne was like, I want that cat.
Yeah,
I'm going to kill this person, eat the soul, take the cat, and then just say, she gave me the
She
she
sacrificed.
Me to have her soul.
Look, she wanted this. Look at this note she wrote seconds before it happened.
Yeah, fuck. So that's Yvrainne. She's one of the two main leaders of the Ynnari. The other one is the Visarch. And the Visarch, or the Sword of Ynnead, is a mighty Eldar warrior who has sworn himself to Ynnead, but also to Yvrainne. Simp.
Yeah, this is the simp, guys.
Is the simp.
We need all those pictures changed that show Yvrainne in Reboot.
Please, Warhammer community, we can do this. We can change this to the true simp.
Yeah, and the simp is the Visarch.
Yeah.
He is doing the simp.
But the reason that the meme is funny is because it pisses off more people when it's Reboot. That's why that's a good meme.
Yeah, but it's less accurate.
This pisses off no one.
It's not accurate.
I'm quite upset at the fact of Eldar making love. I want to end all Eldar life. I'm quite upset. And any
dare
good
they have
Imperial
feelings?
citizen would feel the same way as me.
Yeah.
James.
Reboot deserves to be happy. You know why? Because he's the master of the Imperium.
And I stand by my statement that the other one pisses
Get
off
out!
more people.
Get out of here! Get the fuck out of here!
I'm not pissed off. I'm deeply hurt.
The Visarch was originally a Bealtan Dire Avenger Exarch of the considerable standing known as Lalarian. He met Yvrainne when she was just a mere aspect warrior, teaching her much of swordsmanship. Larian grew close to his student and developed strong feelings for her. He was much saddened when Yvrainne left his shrine.
Oh, so sad.
Many tears, and chose instead to become an outcast and a witch. When she joined the murderers of Camorra, his spirit broke, and his feelings for Yvrainne diverted the course of his path. And this is where it gets crazy. In a nigh unprecedented decision, Larian left his shrine, which he's the exarch of, the leader lost on the path, and decided to follow Yvrainne. This is the only guy in 10,000 years that's ever left his path, and he did it for a chick. So this is the simp.
Yeah. Now, I'm totally ready for this conversation of the idea of an exarch leaving his path. Unfortunately, I gotta save it.
Yeah.
I gotta bottle up all my feelings and not do what Larion did, and I'm gonna make good decisions.
So the Visarch reappeared in Camorra at the side of the newly awakened emissary of Yvrainne. During this time, he posed as an incubus in the Shrine of the Coiled Blade. as an incubus, he became infamous, known as the Scarlet Incubi, and he later struck down the shrine's Clavex and took his position by right of conquest. This guy's fucking sweet. So he was the exarch of a Dire Avenger shrine. Then he went into the incubus, joined it, killed the leader. Normally, to become an incubus, you have to kill a Dire Avenger, and now he's flipped.
You have to kill an exarch, actually.
Yeah, and now he's flipped it all around, and now he's even killed his own shrine leader. He's the best. He's cool.
He's a very cool character. People don't give him enough attention.
As an incubus, I read that one. He is later instrumental in Yvrainne's escape from the Dark City and the formation of the Ynnari. He now acts as the guardian of the Yvrainne, and has fought alongside her for expeditions to resurrect Ynnead. The Vizark continues to serve Yvrainne as one of her chief protectors, and during the Battle of Ilagias, whatever, was nearly killed by Shelex Hellbane.
Yeah, that's that Keeper of Secrets.
Yeah. His apparent death was enough to summon the Incarn, but after the battle, Yvrainne was able to regenerate his broken form. So we're going to get into this later, too. That there's a pattern of coming back from the dead, which is not...
Yeah, unfortunately, it's baked into the identity of the Ynnari.
Yeah,
but it's not. It doesn't make for great writing.
No.
Well, what do you want? Time travel or resurrection? You got to get one or the other.
They're
the only two options in storytelling.
Why not just real consequences?
No, that's stupid.
In battle, the Vizark wields a crone sword, Aservar, and wields ancient armor known as the Beal Anshok.
Wow.
Does this guy have a model?
Yeah, he does. He's the red guy with the fur cape.
And he has
pull him up.
the horns on the back of his armor.
Mark, pull that up.
Got it. So quick.
He has the horns on the back of his armor that you normally only see with Incubus, right? Yeah. And he even has a bunch of spirit stones all over him.
This is the simp.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that to his face.
No, for sure not.
No.
I'm in a podcast studio, safe and sound, 10,000 light years away from him. So it's fine. But no, he's super
guy.
cool. Like just the fact that he's able to master multiple paths, leave a path, master being an incubus, which I love too.
Yeah, because those are supposed to be one of the craziest warriors in all of Camorra.
Yeah.
Okay, question though, like, did he leave the path?
No, save it. I love you, James.
Yeah, we got a whole Tales of the Warp at the end.
We're going to talk about. We're specifically going to talk about him and his path.
Okay.
In this podcast?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
But stay tuned. We're going to do a quick ad spot and get right back to the show.
And welcome back. We just finished talking about Yvrainne and the Vizark, the two leaders of the brand new Ynnari faction.
Yeah.
And so now I guess we're going to talk about...
Yeah, we're going to jump back to... We talked a little bit of what, Ynnead was a little bit, but as... we've learned more about that botched ritual that's happened. We learned some other things. We find some crazy powers that he's had now that have started to manifest.
Yeah. So Ynnead remains a dream, the embodiment of a possibility that has yet to be fully realized, hope for a dying race. So he still is not capable of performing, I think, what their hope is yet.
Yeah, he's not killing Slaanesh yet.
Right.
Yeah.
The shattering of BL10's Infinity Circuit, which happened... Oh, God, I can't remember exactly when.
So it happened after the 13th Black Crusade, but during that kind of time frame.
And Yvrainne was there with it, because it was her purpose or her goal to attempt to stop the destruction of BL10's Infinity Circuit.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Okay, who was there? Okay, I'm going to do a quick search. I know as soon as I see one detail, it'll all come back to me.
So the shattering of BL10's Infinity Circuit unleashed a vast explosion of psychic energies that caused warp vortices to spiral into being around the stricken craft world, but also gave a focal point for the Aeldari god of the dead to manifest his avatar in real space.
Cool.
So was born the Yncarn, and Ynnead's avatar, a being both beautiful and terrible, whose mastery over deathly energies were the supernatural powers of Ynnead himself. I like the inclusion of the avatar. I don't know if everyone does, but it fits with how the Eldar view their gods. I think a lot of the Eldar would be blown away if Ynnead himself appeared. But I think they're already familiar with the idea of their godly powers inhabiting something, especially through the avatar of Cain. You know, like that's something every Eldar is familiar with. And I think this avatar of Ynnead, the Incarn, I feel like it's more comfortable for them than Ynnead himself showing up.
Yeah.
Is there a model for that or any depiction? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a model for the Incarn.
Yeah, this is...
Pull that up.
This is him right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's so crazy, like how Slaanesh looking it kind of looks, and you know, there's all those conspiracies.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let's see what you did there.
Things
They're really just feeding Slaanesh.
Yeah.
This is just a demon of Slaanesh. Yeah.
You know what happens when you do an excessive amount of death? You feed Slaanesh with your excess.
It's the avatar of Slaanesh.
Oh my
Ooh.
god.
Something I heard crazy while reading through this. Have you heard of the Mask of Slaanesh?
No.
Yeah, well, that's a thing,
Google
apparently.
it, Mark. Okay, what is it?
It's just a thing. I did not even look.
Okay.
Yeah, but I kept seeing reference to this mask, but the mask kept doing negative things. Like, the mask, like, killing all these Eldar. And I was like, what on earth is this Harlequin mask doing? But it was just the Mask of Slaanesh and my own inability to read. So, Yncarn was the first step to the seventh path, a method of awakening Ynnead without sacrificing the entire Eldar race. But during the quest for the Crone Swords, a battle against the Thousand Sons, the Yncarn went missing after the battle. He later reappeared defending Yvrainne from Shalaxi Hellbane during the Battle of Eathglass, summoned to the battlefield by the apparent death of the Vizark. We say apparent because...
You just come back from
That's
dead.
right.
It's only temporary.
Yeah, all death in the Ynnari is temporary. With Ynnead's manifestation of the Incarn, and each dead Eldar soul being pulled to him, the nascent god grows in power and is closer than ever before to full manifestation. So the Incarn is acting now as kind of a lodestone for Eldari souls.
Yeah, like the one difference between like the avatar of Cain and this avatar is you have to continually summon the avatar of Cain.
And he won't last forever.
Yeah, he
At some point,
himself out.
Exactly. Yeah.
With this one, since they're constantly kind of feeding him souls and they're battling, and then he's eating those souls as well. Yeah, I guess he can just kind of sustain himself forever. And maybe, like, so we kind of talked about how he disappeared for a little bit. Like, who knows what happened? Maybe he kind of vanished. Maybe he can kind of flicker in and out briefly.
Right. Maybe it takes a little too much energy to sustain himself all the time, so he just pulls back for a little bit.
Yeah.
I really like that connection between him and the Avatar of Cain in this regard. The Avatar of Cain requires one Eldari sacrifice to manifest.
Yeah.
It can only be sustained for however much energy is given by one Eldari's soul.
Sure.
But this avatar, created out of the shattered pieces of an entire infinity circuit, and who now is able to draw Eldari souls into himself, like, I like that you can kind of connect that logic point and say, well, yeah, of course he can just be around forever if he can just use that energy.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question I know there's no answer to, but if he's eating the souls, this avatar, does that mean they're not going to... And he's using the souls to power his existence, does that mean that they're not going to Ynnead?
Does it say he's, like, consuming them, or is he just holding on to them?
If he's using them to manifest, does that mean that they're getting used up? Or what's the implication there?
So... with spirit stones and stuff, like, you can tap into that spirit stone energy without depleting the soul. So I imagine they have some type of holding device.
It could be just his entire body was created from the shards of the infinity circuit, and very similar to how living metal works.
Yeah. If it's already an infinity circuit.
His entire body might just be a conduit for these souls to reside in.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, because that's how...
All right, you surprised me.
Well,
surprised me.
That's how I kind of imagine Ynnead being is... One way I could think about it is that all the infinity circuits form this brain, this nervous system with thousands of connecting points between them. And it's when all of them are coming in together and their souls are flowing through these circuits that's technically the thoughts of Ynnead. And it's all these infinity circuits together creating this brain, which is just forming a consciousness. And so if you say the Yncarn is just an avatar of it, it would serve to be like, it's just on a smaller scale. So I don't know if he's actually created out of the shards of the Infinity Circuit,
yeah.
but I like thinking that he is a container.
That is an acceptable answer because it fits within. That fits. It's not openly contradictory, so that makes sense. I'll take it. Yes.
Thank God. Okay.
You passed the test.
Oh, it's the worst. Yeah. So that's Ynnead and the Incarn, technically.
Yeah.
I wonder, is the idea that if he collects enough souls, he will just form the god of, like, he will just become Ynnead, like, if he just continues to collect more and more?
I wonder if that is the goal.
Yeah.
Because,
unfortunately, we don't know what the ritual is. Like, they have the Incarn, that's step 1.
Well, yeah, and, like, even they don't know what the ritual is anymore. They wanted to do this 5 crone steps, and now they can't do it anymore. So even they don't know how to do it, what to do with it.
Yeah. It almost seems like they've reached this weird impasse where they can't technically move forward with their plan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they'll work it out.
Yep.
But we'll see.
I wish them the best.
Let's talk about their organization. So a great many Aeldari, hailing from every possible subfaction and allegiance, save the most conservative and entrenched. There are still some of the Ynnari, many Asuryani, who deny that this Ynnead is the way to save the Aeldari race.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why Eldrad Uthran was banished from Ulthwé. He killed a bunch of crystal seers and stole them from craft worlds. But also, they just refuse to believe that this is the way.
Yeah.
So there are still those out there who don't think it's proper.
Yeah.
So many have joined the Ynnari cause. And the Ynnari is much of a philosophy and an idea as much as an actual organization. And it's not even merely an abstract philosophy, for the effects of their new deity can be seen manifesting around them. There is an awakening happening in the Aeldari race directly tied to Ynnead's awakening and the Incarn.
Yeah.
Like, this already psychic race, they're just so tuned to everything around them.
Yeah, you would, I guess you would, you would feel
it in your craft world.
Yeah, like you would know for sure that this is something different, something new.
Something has changed.
Something has
I
changed.
feel it in the
I was
water.
just about to do that. I was just about to do that.
Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
Guys,
I never considered that's a very cool thought.
I totally bet that all the Exodite, their what are they called? Their world pillars? Right? That's what they call their infinity circuits?
Oh, I know what you're talking Exodites.
They're not called world pillars?
No.
Whatever. They're infinity circuits. The craft world infinity circuits. I bet all of them went through this crazy, resonant, humming, psychic blast or ripple at the moment of Ynnead's awakening.
I feel it.
Exactly, yeah. To a race that's so finely tuned to, like, the psychic world, it would be crazy if that wasn't the case, in my opinion.
Yeah. Checks out.
Okay. There are 2 known sub-factions within the Ynnari, so it's kind of funny for a faction that's supposed to, like, bring everyone together. They then decided to break into 2. So the first is the Aeldari Blade Hosts, who fight directly under the command of Yvrainne, and the second is the Soulbound Vanguard, and those are the warriors who choose to fight under the leadership of the Vizarch.
Yeah.
So
That's not really a difference.
I know,
though.
yeah.
Especially since Yvrainne and the Vizarch fight side by side, you never see one without the other.
Yeah.
Sure.
If anything, it's more just like a split of, like, duties and responsibilities.
Yeah.
So you can have 2 people fighting on different fronts.
Sure.
You're still all fighting for the same thing.
Yeah.
And the battleship Ynnead's Dream, which is an Aeldari ship, and serves as the flagship of the Ynnari fleet.
Yeah, but there's all types of Eldar that have joined the Ynnari. It'd be cool to see some conversions. Like, I just wonder what you would do to make the Ynnari, like, uniquely Ynnari. Like, what if you try to bring all these factions together?
Yeah.
What would you do? Just slap on some skulls? Like,
So I think for myself, I would, and we've talked about this before, how we love to take things that previously existed and then show how they change. So you take a group of Dark Eldar. Oh my God, what are the basic troop?
Gablite warriors.
Yeah, so you take a group of Cabalite warriors who are already painted in their way, and then you pick some symbol or like a token that gets put on their armor to show their change in allegiance.
Okay.
And the simplest thing, little sidetrack, Mark has been painting Uruk-hai,
Yeah.
and you've been painting the white hand of Sauron
Yeah,
on
so
these
fun.
Uruk-hai, and they look so good. Like that hand, like over the face, you see the whole, all the fingers. Like it even looks like you got the indentations of the palm. Like it's not a solid piece. Anyways, seeing a mark similar to that over all these Kabbalite warriors would be so cool.
You know, it would be a cool way to, because you could do the handprint, but also almost make it like that, a glowing blue, so it's almost like they've been psychically touched.
Oh,
That
yeah,
would
you
be
like try and get
cool.
a weird outline on it.
Yeah, like it's some sort of like, you almost, if you could like negative space paint that somehow, like if you had like a stencil you put over top that was a handprint, and then you like airbrushed over top, and then it looks like they got psychically touched by something, and like, I'm in now.
I would love to see Eldar already painted as what they were, who have like thrown away their allegiances to now join this new one, this new hope for their race, really.
Yeah.
But I would I don't want to see like a uniform painted Ynnari army. I want to see them coming from all the backgrounds that they're supposed to come from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's their organization. So it's very loose.
Yeah.
And it feels very merit based. Like, hey, you like did this crazy thing, now you're in charge of this squad or whatever. They just don't have that hierarchy.
Yeah. Well, a lot of their hierarchies too just come from, this shrine from a craft world joins. They already have their exarch. They already have
That's
their hierarchy
true.
that
That's a
they
good
take
point.
with them.
Yeah, Uriel still commands like his group or whatever. They're
Yeah.
shining, flying people.
Yeah. So instead of changing anything below, lots of people just added one person above them.
Interesting.
Yvrainne,
Yeah. I like that. I don't know. It feels very organic for the Eldar.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have some psychic abilities.
With this new influx of psychic energy from Ynnead came new abilities, and many Aeldari subcultures found themselves able to draw from power within. Members of the Ynnari carry the spirit stones of deceased Eldar, whose souls they use to bolster their own psychic powers, and they're also able to siphon the energy of the recently dead to invigorate themselves. So they're able to kind of draw more and more souls. Even with the spirit stones, they're able to communicate with them more effectively, where before you needed like spirit seers to be able to communicate with the dead.
Yeah, there's this ease of communicating with the dead that has never been seen before.
Couldn't backfire. There's no way this could backfire.
But what's crazy is like you're actually able to, even these spirit stones, they have like, apparently you're able to draw from the skills even of the dead Eldar inside. This great swordsman, you now know all these stances, so you kind of make these crazy. They're almost like Phoenix Lords in a sense, where it's like you get these guys with a bunch
Even
of...
exarchs used to do that a
I
lot
guess,
as well.
yeah, exarchs
because
do it.
they kept a lot of the old exarch spirit stones in their armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, it's happening on a much more public scale than it ever had before. Because before, these Eldars probably never even dreamed of communing with dead people.
Or you do it through somebody.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a buffer between you and the land of the dead.
Yeah. There are even some within the Ynnari, such as Yvrainne, who are able to pull the souls of the dead from the warp at the time of death and force them back into the soul or back into the body, a type of resurrection. So we have some examples. We've talked about the Vizark had this happen.
Yeah, Uriel had it happen.
Raboot Gilliman had this happen. I'm sure she does this often. Like, to just whoever she wants, really.
I mean, honestly, I just see her
there's-
walking through a battlefield,
Yeah,
resurrecting hundreds of people at a time.
Does she have to fix the body in order to do this, or does she do they
It's
fix the
just like-
body and then they pull the soul back
So you
into
can
it?
psychically fix it, so it's like it's all this whole psychic process. of-
Sure.
Have you ever heard of magic?
yeah.
No, like that just I was just trying to figure out the process, because that would
Yeah,
make
you bring
sense
it back and it's my
Yeah,
leg!
the head is still beheaded.
Well, yeah, like if you're
Yeah.
dead, if you're like I could see if you I feel fix the body, but obviously the soul's gone, so it's just a husk. But then you pull the soul back in, and now it's just reanimated. That's a cool.
They're not going to give you a step 1 through 1,000 process.
You gotta
You're going to have to
figure it
use
out,
a little
yeah.
imagination on this one.
Obviously, I'm not gonna hold my hand.
And here's another reason. Tragically, many Aeldari see the Ynnari, or Reborn, as corrupted by the very demonic forces they seek to thwart. Others believe they are already dead inside and are the doom of their race. So, lots of these Eldar, too, they just don't want to join that. Just imagine, people are getting resurrected. You're like, this ain't cool, man. They already have like they look at wraith constructs, putting spirit stones into wraithbone constructs as like necromancy, and they don't like that even.
The idea of fooling around with the souls of the departed is not. There's nothing positive about that in almost every Eldar's eyes. So then Yvrainne comes out and says, actually, I have dominion over death. Like, that's very controversial, and many would take that extremely negatively. Like,
yeah, man.
You shouldn't look at the people who oppose the Ynnari as, like, naysayers or stupid or willfully ignoring. There is, like, do you really think there's no consequences to getting resurrected? Like, maybe right now they haven't written any, but that is such an open book and page for them to say that, yes, like, there are negative consequences to this. And personally,
you feel bad when you come back because you die.
Yeah, there's some pain.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay, I really hope they do include some negative aspect of it, but until then, I will just assume that they just don't know about it yet.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually a really interesting aspect to the story that they're writing, because there's so much depth all around it that makes it really interesting. Like, there's these layers of that seem built into the story already. It seems like this was a well written addition to the lore, in that the like, there is that inherent conflict where you're messing with the dead. Well, that's like not something we do.
Yeah.
But it also is the only way we're going to save ourselves.
Right.
Like, there's so many layers to how this is interesting, and I think that was a well done, added aspect of the story.
I still don't think it's like the best written I've ever seen, but since doing this episode, I am much more invested in the Ynnari storyline than I ever have been.
It's interesting at the very least. There are worse written storylines.
Absolutely.
Because like I know it beat it to death, but like the idea of like the Primaris come out of nowhere. This doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes out of stuff that already exists. It fits in well. It doesn't invalidate anything else. It just makes it adds a new dimension.
Absolutely.
There's just a lot of well done things about this when you compare it to other things that they've added. So
what's nice too is it even creates like conflict within like craft worlds. Like you could now fight craft worlds first, craft worlds on tabletop, because they're fighting over the Ynnari or whatever, which it's a little harder to do that before, just due to the nature of Eldar don't want to kill themselves, especially craft worlds. But you know, when people are resurrecting your grandpa and you're like, don't use my grandpa's soul, brah, you might go to war for that. And
I think as the Ynnari grow, they inevitably will be forced to take over the most precious resource that they can need, which is souls. And so at some point they are going to start cannibalizing other craft worlds because they desperately need this energy.
Or even just extremists of the followers of Ynnari, where they're like, there's only one way to win.
That's right.
Cox gun, like,
exactly.
Come here.
Oh yeah, that would be
like, and they're like just going to go purge
an accelerationist Eldari faction, where they're just like, we're killing our species only to make the. That's great. That would be an amazing army to build.
That'd be sweet.
So there's a lot more layers to the Ynnari than I think any of us had realized prior to this.
There's a lot of cool stuff, except for the fact that they can resurrect themselves.
There's got to be a consequence.
Yeah, we'll talk more at it at the bottom in the Tales of the Warp, but we can carry on. So we're going to do some battles that we found enjoyable for one regard or another. We'll start with...
So I put them in the order of... We picked random battles, whatever we thought was cool, but the order that they're in is how they chronologically would have happened. So James is first.
I'll hit up the Battle of Demesnes, or the Battle of the Port of Demesnes. So it's an interesting battle because this is the one that had to do with Eldrad Ulthran, like trying to create.
This is his ritual on Kohira.
Exactly. So obviously he wants this moon, but the moon is worthless to the humans who have this control of his system. But the planet itself is like a major planet that the humans do care about keeping control of. So he distracts the Terran fleets by attacking the port with just an all-out assault, and leaving the moon relatively unguarded, because who cares about that? There's nothing on it. Yeah. But this is the one that has all that psychic sand.
Yeah.
He doesn't hate it. It does get everywhere, and. So he's going there. He's fighting for it, but unfortunately, the Death Watch captain Artemis, who seems to be everywhere all the time where he needs to be.
Yeah.
For a Deathwatch guy, he gets around. And so he kind of detects that this is a feint of some sort. And so he goes to the moon and he hunts down Eldrad Yvrainne.
Yeah.
And so he
they get into a little tumble,
Yeah,
they
they
spar
fight.
for 47 days. Neither one of them gets
And
wounded.
nights.
And nights. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't take any time off.
No.
well, but the funny thing is, like, Eldrad's like, I'm trying to kill Slaanesh. This is a good thing for both of us. And you have this classic, like, kind of Eldar situation where we're really on the same side. They seem to do this a lot. We're really on the same side. Like, are we though? And the humans,
Why is your fleet attacking us then over there?
it's so that seems like a kind of silly thing to be putting forward. But like,
Yeah.
obviously, he's a space marine. He doesn't care, so he just shoots them, and then this causes the entire ritual to just go and become a huge mess. It's like the way I read it was like it was like on the path to being successful. Like
Yeah.
we were gonna summon this god. We were gonna,
And I think it was supposed to be
so
like
close.
fully realized
Yeah.
Ynnead. Like it was supposed to be the full god.
Yeah.
the full Monty, the big Mama Jama.
Yeah.
He's here.
Thanks,
but,
Artemis.
But Artemis shoots him, and I think he kills him at that point, or does he come back to life, or some shenanigans
I don't know.
or something?
Like it's entirely possible that Yvrainne dies in this, but I don't know.
He's even died in previous editions of lore. He's been brought back a couple
Yeah.
times.
so who
He's died
knows?
A couple
He's
weird
around.
times.
Either
yeah.
way, he gets shot, causes the whole ritual to go awry, and then that's when this sliver of
Yeah.
his psychicness goes to Gamora and inhabits,
Yeah.
possesses,
Very cool.
touches,
Temporarily.
manipulates, reaches inside, whatever you want,
Enters.
enters. Yeah, that's fine.
I think.
Choose your verb here.
I think also when the ritual fails, that's also when the Crystal Seers die. I don't think originally they were supposed to, and that's one of the big reasons why Yvrainne is banished from Ulthwé is because of the destruction of these seers.
Yeah, because like he didn't want anyone to die. Essentially,
No.
he was trying to avoid the death of any of the Eldar to make this happen.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a shame because I guess it's a shame. It's part of the story.
It's
That's a damn shame.
Sad.
My life would be so much better if only this one thing. What a shame.
What a shame.
But I like that you chose that because it's the crux. It's the beginning of everything Ynnead related. Like it's the first battle related to Ynnead. It's the first time he appears. It's the first time it becomes like public knowledge between all the Aeldari. It's a great starting point.
Cool.
Mine was the war in the Labyrinth. So, and what's crazy, all the battles take place in 999 M41.
Busy year.
It's a busy year for the
Lots
Ynnari.
That's happening.
So at some point later, chaos and like the Pantheon is growing more and more nervous about the idea of a fully awakened Ynnead, and so the Thousand Sun sorcerer Ahriman decided that after Ynnari's defeat at Eandin, it was the perfect time to strike.
What? An Eldar. Oh, right. Okay.
Ambushing the Ynnari while they were traveling through the webway, the Chaos forces quickly scattered and separated the Ynnari forces. The battle was fought on several fronts, including one led by Eldrad Yvrainne, one by the Phoenix Lords, and one by the Triumvirate. And the Triumvirate is Yvrainne, the Yncarne,
And the Vizark.
and the Vizark. Yeah, it was like the three. It's the Holy Trinity
Yeah.
of the Ynnari. As Yvrainne, the Vizark, and the Yncarne prepared to engage with Ahriman, he actually just teleported them out of the webway and into the warp, which that's just straight death. You know, like you can't just survive in the warp.
That's a cool move.
It's pretty badass, actually.
Yeah.
They're all like gathering their gear, starting to cast their spells, and he's just like, "Bye, bye, toodles."
See ya.
But Yvrainne actually convinced Ahriman to teleport them back in after she showed her ability to cure the Rubric Marine's curse.
Crazy.
And she was actually able to bring them back to life.
Like, as in, like, they're now space marines
Yep.
with a body. Oh,
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that's like the only time I think you've ever witnessed the Rubricae
Yeah.
being healed.
Is
And that is Ahriman's only goal.
Yeah.
He is not concerned with anything other than bringing back those Marines to life.
Yeah.
interesting.
So yeah, he's like, oh shit,
How many did she bring back?
I didn't say, but I assume it was a lot. I almost think it was every single one that he had brought with him.
So there's potentially some of those walking around that are flesh and blood.
Oh, sweet, sweet James. Just wait till you'll see what happens.
Just wait for point 4.
So
I'm not reading ahead. I'm experiencing this story live.
So Armin is like, oh shit, this is awesome. And he brings them back out from the webway, or out of the warp, back into the webway, because he's like, you gotta, like, show me how you did this power, teach me it. I saved your life now, you owe it to me.
Yeah.
And Yvraine's like, shit, bitch, bye. And she tells a Wraith Knight to just smash a massive hole in the wall of the webway, which sucks all the Marines that she had just healed out into the warp to die, because that's what happens in the warp. You die. And then Arman is like all pissed, but he's lost a bunch of his forces.
Twirls mustache. I'll be back
Pieces
for you.
out. Yeah, he just like gets out of there. And
Well, how did he not get sucked down into the warp?
Armin,
Engage
Plot
the
armor?
mag boots.
yeah. Have you never heard of plot armor?
I'm familiar.
Yeah. I don't know how he
Tries to
got
get
away
stuck,
with it.
but the staff gets stuck in the holes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a dog taking a stick through a door.
Exactly. So
He's too stupid to. So yeah, he unfortunately he consigned all of his Marines that were still there. They all just got destroyed. So it was a bad day for Armin, unless you count the fact that he now knows it's reversible. Because I'm pretty sure over 10,000 years, he probably lost a little bit of hope at some point that he would ever fix
lot
it.
of
You might consider that worth it, and he probably considers it worth it. I know it's possible.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah, who cares? I lost a few schmoes.
Yeah. It's gonna happen. Like I can now, he has something to work towards, like a goal to focus on. So, and even though the Ynnari did win the battle, they lost close to 50% of all their forces.
Jeez.
And we mentioned this previously, but it was after this battle that the Yncarne disappeared, and all the Phoenix Lords. That's a pretty big fucking blow to the Ynnari.
Yeah. So one thing here that we can note is, like, the Ynnari, as much as they are masters of death, they're not really. Like, they still lose forces, like the whole bringing people back from the death. Like, you have to be there at the right time type situation. It's not just like after the battlefield you're resurrecting everyone who just died.
It seems to be there's a very tight window on how that needs to work.
And also, like, a lot of the time too, you have to like kill another soul to get that soul to then power your soul to get it back into. Like,
it must take a lot of energy to reach into the
there's
warp.
some steps, soul magic's weird. Okay.
Like, I read this book one time, and the image of it is kind of really sticking with me. And in the book, this person like reached into the world beyond to grab the soul, but it's hard to separate everything in this other realm from just the soul that you're trying to grab. And so it takes a lot of energy maybe to gather that entire consciousness into one place, and then the energy required to separate it from everything and pull it out, move it in. Like, not anyone could do this. Yvrainne was very accomplished.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
She's a great conduit for the power.
Yeah.
But that's the Battle of the War in the Labyrinth. In the end, technically Ynnari did win, but they lost a lot of forces.
Cool. The battle I chose was the Dark Eldar Civil War. So, though always beset by violence and strife, the Dark Eldar realm of Commorragh has become partially volatile since the Great Disjunction that arose following the formation of the Great Rift. Seeking to counter the Ynnari influence that has since arose in the Dark City, Supreme Overlord Vecht has begun manipulating many assets within Commorragh, seeking to eliminate Yvrainne and her sect without being seen as openly murdering the prophets of Ynnead.
I really like that, actually. It's like, I'm going to kill you, but I don't want everyone to know I'm killing you.
As such, Commorragh has erupted into large levels of violence as various cabals have been set upon by pro-Ynnari factions without even realizing Vecht is behind such acts. One such example is the Cabal of the Lords of the Iron Thorn, eliminating the Cabal of the Poisoned Hope. Vecht also used the third-party brokers to put bounties on Yvrainne's and her followers' heads, creating entire hunting expeditions by assassins and bounty hunters in Commorragh. In truth, Vecht needed little to push the city towards strife, as the Dark Elder required sparse, cause to murder one another.
Yeah, it's already a boiling
already
pot
doing
of
that,
murder and violence. So you really just need the right amount of propaganda to point them in the direction that you want.
Yeah. But I just love this picture of just like the fighting getting even crazier. Now you have all these factions once again, just like on the Craft Worlds, but you dial that up even crazier in Khemora.
Yeah. Khemora's way more willing to I'll fucking
go
nuts over this.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah. While Vectus managed to destroy large amounts of pro-Ynnari factions within Khemora, entire sub-realms of the Dark City have nonetheless fallen under Ynnari control. These have been fortified and now separate enclaves in their own right.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Very cool. Like little mini Khemora, essentially.
Little bastions of Ynnari's power.
Yeah. It's very neat.
Yeah, because they don't have a craft world, They don't have a planet that they can go back on and build stockpiles of weapons or vehicles. So now maybe these places can supply them.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Something else we wanted to mention was just a couple notable Ynnari. These are names that you're definitely going to recognize. You have Eldrad Uthran, who is the outcast Farseer of Craftworld Uthway.
One of the oldest known Eldar.
Yes, been around for 10,000 years. You have Prince Uriel, the Prince of Ynnead, the bonded wielder of the Spear of Twilight.
Yeah, and he leads the biggest Corsair fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Quick test. What power did the Twilight sword have?
It was forged in Burning Souls. That was its power.
You pass.
You have Lelith Hesperax, who was a succubus of the witch cult of Strife.
And the most famous succubus in all of Khemora.
Vect was in love with her at one point.
Yeah.
He could not get enough of her. And to see her, and these are such public figures, to have them move over, that alone must convince a lot of people to put their stock into it. Mm-hmm. They're stonks. Ynnari going up. Bye.
Bye.
You have Kaisaduris. So this was one of the original Ynnarians.
Yeah.
He was the Eldar mystic that helped Uthran in his early meditations of the sleeping god. He was later turned to a wooden statue by Armin. So interestingly enough, Yvrainne wasn't able to resurrect him.
Oh, okay.
Because, and I like the idea that a very particular and specific death has to happen to you in order to be resurrected, because maybe he's not even dead. What if he's still living, but he's just wooden and no one knows how to change him back?
Yeah, the Thousand Suns are all dust, essentially.
Exactly,
they're still alive, I suppose.
Ahriman is great. He knows exactly how to transform flesh and stuff, so... Yeah, I liked that there was some out there. So he was a hero of the Ynnari, but has been defeated and is no longer with them. Maybe they put his wooden statue in a place of honor in the flagship. And then we have a bunch of the Phoenix Lords: Jane Zar, Karandris, Fugan, Baharoth, Maugan-Ra, Asurman. Yeah. The first Phoenix Lord is now a member.
Yeah. I think
Ynnari.
all the Phoenix Lords joined.
Every single one that I could find actual talking about, they all were willing to join.
Yeah. And there are countless other Aeldaris from all walks of life that have begun to flock to the Ynnari banner. From Craft Worlds to Exodite Worlds, from the Corsair fleets to the depths of Khemora, many Aeldari feel that change is coming.
It's that hope, man. Yeah. That's what I see throughout the entirety of this thing, is this idea that something is coming and it's good for us. Yeah, I just feel like they haven't felt this way in 10,000 years.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's a very well added little element. I think it's quite cool.
Yeah,
I know we probably covered this when we did Phoenix Lords, but is Jane Zar still missing?
So I think all the Phoenix Lords are missing after that war in the Webway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though they brought her model back?
So that Jane Zar, that war in the Webway is, I think it's the most recent thing with all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some stuff. That cool Dark Eldar Incubus that they brought out?
Drazar.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, but not really.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry. I forgot about that. You bring out name characters that are dead, and then you write that they actually didn't die, and you give them a new model. I forgot. Okay.
And then, so we talked a lot about what they want to do and how they're doing it, who they're doing it with, but let's finish our noted section by talking about where are the Ynnari now? What are they focused on right now?
Yeah, they would try in that seven path or whatever. Now what are they up to?
Mm-hmm. So even while news of the fifth Crone Sword within the Palace of Slaanesh is not new, the Ynnari's seventh path seems to have ground to a halt. I mean, to me, it would make sense that you find out about that, boom, plan your campaign.
Yep.
Attack it.
Yeah.
What other course is there for you?
Yeah, and it's like either we all die doing this, and that's how it works. Ynnead wins, or we get it and Ynnead wins.
Exactly.
Like,
so even though they know where it is, they haven't made any plans to do it. So
Maybe there's no way to get there.
maybe.
I don't know, man.
Like just because you know it's in the Palace of Slaanesh doesn't mean you know how to get to the Palace of Slaanesh.
All right.
Yeah, like I guess
I
you would
just-
still have to like walk through all the gardens. I guess that's Nurgle, but like the maze.
That's Zinch.
The
thing is, you
sexton.
No, you're totally right.
Slaanesh?
You're right that it might be a physical place that you go to, but it's in the warp.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
who knows where that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It could
doesn't
be
feel
infinitely
like
far away for all you know.
So it feels like no one cares about it now. It feels like they found out that it's in that palace, and now they've just like, well, shit. Guess
Well,
we're
shit.
out of luck. You know.
Yeah.
But so it's hard to imagine that Yvrainne would have so quickly abandoned that path. And even her actions as of late are not focused on the acquisition of this blade. So most recently, she's been consumed by her visions, which often tell her of assassination attempts. And like Shalaxi Hellbane is constantly trying to assassinate and kill Yvrainne. Vect, he even sent out Drazhar
Yeah.
to go try and kill her.
These
And
like hunter assassins or
yeah,
whatever.
never mind all the bounties that he's putting on her
Yeah.
head for it. Never
Yeah.
mind all the like. You don't think there's any members of the Imperium that are pissed about her gaining
Yeah.
access to McCraig?
Yeah.
Like that is a dangerous person who can come to McCraig and leave unmolested. Like that's big
he
news.
wasn't unmolested. Gilliman and
Wrong choice of words. But anyways, yeah. So she's consumed by these visions of assassination, and she is convinced that in order to survive these and continue her work, she must gather as many champions as possible. And her latest acquisition was the Harlequin pariah Kaiganil
okay.
and the Sister of Battle Seraphim Ephemeral Stern.
Yeah. Do you know much about this?
So it was a little tough to actually find hardcore information.
Yeah.
The one thing I did find is that in the seventh path, she needs a solitaire. And she is having a lot of trouble finding a solitaire. And so she accepted Kaiganil into her group on his promise that he would find her a solitaire.
Huh.
And that's one of the last things I think she needs for her path.
And
Seventh
then
path.
why the Sister of Battle?
I have no idea. That didn't make any sense.
Yeah, why would she
Yeah.
be okay?
No sister has ever fallen to chaos, but Ynnari, they go to that all the time. They love the Ynnari.
I was so sick of trying to find why this
I'll have to
ephemeral
look
stern.
into that, or send us a message. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
a book out there, but
if
it's just
you
like one
know-
of those weird things where at surface level you're like, what is happening?
Yeah,
here?
if you know what it is, please let me know, because I got no idea.
I know ephemeral stern, she is some type of either a perpetual or she comes back from the dead somehow too, whatever. So maybe she's like,
Too many special people out there.
anyway, fuck her.
Wow. So that's kind of where they're sitting right now. It
Yeah.
feels like they're at a stalemate.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what to do. But like as they fight and get more to their cause, Ynnead grows, their power grows. So maybe it's just they're waiting.
Maybe
till
it's a matter of time.
that next tipping point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
That is the Yanari.
yeah. We have some after topic questions. We
Some
have
tales from the warp.
Yeah.
Tales from the warp.
Yeah. The first one we have is birthing a god. So like you can just the Eldar decide we can just birth gods now at this point if we want. We can find nice planets and we can just birth warp entities. And they decide to go with the one that is death. Why? Why not like a good one?
I think it's the vengeful spirit of the Eldar. It is
Like death that even a god. Maybe they had to because only the like god of death could kill a god. Maybe that's kind of why.
I guess if you get the god of life, good luck giving him a sword and
Isha is not a warrior.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't do that.
I could see that as being an explanation. there
yeah.
for-
Okay.
I think a lot of the Eldari has just been focused on survival and this feeling that in the end, like, I'm going to contribute at least a little bit to the destruction of Slaanesh. And I think a lot of them just have that in the back of their mind. My body will fail, my spirit will live on, and I will strike that final blow. And it feels like that's what Ynnead is manifesting.
You know what it might be too, is it might be that they need a god of death in order for their death to overrule Slaanesh taking their soul. Like, only the god of death would be powerful
Only
enough to
he would
override
have the actual
that.
claim on the soul.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see there being a couple cool explanations for why it being.
Yeah. The idea of the god of death, I think that makes a decent amount of sense.
Yeah.
It's it's crazy to think that you can step by step manifest a god.
Yeah.
We know we can trap souls, and what's stopping the Imperium from exterminatusing a hive world, trapping all those souls, and then being like, okay, let's create our own god.
Or just give it to the Emperor and rejuvenate him.
Yeah, I mean, they do that already on a small scale, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if there is an overlap between the Yanari, the Ynnead, the Dominion over Life of Death, and the Emperor's Awakening.
And I'm willing to sacrifice all those hive cities to do it, too.
Oh, you can always make more people.
Exactly. People are a dime a dozen.
Yeah. You know what's
Infrastructure.
more expensive?
What?
Bullets.
Bullets.
Bullets have higher value than people in the Imperium.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just, you can make a god. The god of death, as you say, it makes sense. You need the god of death to have the claim over your soul. You need the god of death to be able to actually kill something. Like, we're talking about hope and stuff. Why not make the god of hope? But that's just not going to cut it for what you need, essentially.
Yeah. They needed something particularly savage to fight this chaos being.
Fair enough.
I also wonder, how are they so convinced that it would turn out better this time?
That baffles me too. Yeah, let's create another chaos. We created one chaos god. Let's do it again. I'll do it again.
Yeah.
No, this time they had precautions and safety measures.
The
that
regulations.
Death Watch fucked with. So
Well,
it's
to be
fine.
fair, I don't know if they're saying it will turn out better for them. They're saying at least we'll get Slaanesh. I think that's the only thing they're talking about.
Yvrainne seems
necessarily.
to be convinced that this seventh path is not going to require the death of the entire race. And I think that's why so many people are flocking to her, is that they see that their race can exist beyond.
Yeah.
So I think even if it might not be true, they feel like this is only good.
Yeah. It's cool. Next question?
Yeah.
So wait. You can just leave the pass that you're lost on. You could just say that chick's hot. I'm out of here. See ya.
Oh my
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did he leave because he's like, oh, her cause is mighty, or did he just like booty blind leave?
Booty blind.
Booty blind.
Because he left and joined her before she became.
Yeah, he just
Yvrainne.
followed her to Komorrah.
Yeah, and then he became an incubus and like.
Sure, but was there something about what she was doing, or how she was, or what she? Is it just
as far as
pure
I can
booty
tell,
blind?
her relationship to Ynnead started in Komorrah in that gladiatorial
At
pit.
her death.
Yeah, she had no idea
Yeah.
of anything about Ynnead prior to that.
Now, who knows? Maybe like there is some weird like psychic soul connection that he maybe is a farseer himself and he sees the weird future. That
But
he
he's
had.
not. He's an Exarch.
It might be some weird latent power, though, is all I'm saying, where like he might not even be aware of this connection that he feels, and it's just like this weird psychic foretelling. Soulmates.
Soul
okay,
sisters.
but
Soul sisters.
the idea that soulmates, like this
Let's
is
talk about soulmates.
the
yes.
idea that this is the first time that any lost Aeldari has had a soulmate. That's horse crap.
Hey man, I didn't write this.
Well, no, that's why I'm thinking that it would make. Obviously, it's more hilarious to just say he's booty blind, but maybe there was like, I don't know, I haven't seen that story,
Okay.
but maybe he was like did sense something about her.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good explanation, but this is as good as I got.
Yeah.
Ynnead is here to destroy all the allegiances that you previously held and to declare your allegiance only to him and the resurrection of the Eldar race.
Okay.
And even if Yanari or Yvrainne herself had no connection to Ynnead, I believe that Ynnead might have been watching her and
sure.
looking for someone to be his emissary, his
Yeah.
high priestess.
Yeah.
And she leaves the safety of this dire avenger cult. She goes to become an outcast, and then Larian finds out that she's now a witch. Well, that is not a great place to stay alive in Camorra, no matter how skilled you really are.
Yeah.
And I think that there's an aspect of Ynnead that breaks down all old allegiances and all old oaths, everything that might bind you to something, to this ideal, and he is more than willing to say, cast all of that aside. None of it matters anymore. All that matters is me, really. So that's my own interpretation of it, is that he actually had Ynnead's help in severing himself from his lost path. I'm still convinced that you cannot get yourself off the path.
Now, I was thinking about this, missing sleep, and I think, okay, so you get lost in the forest. You're lost on that path in the forest. We've gone down this trail before.
We sure have.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you can get found. You can walk yourself out of the forest eventually. You're lost. All of a sudden, you're free of it, and you're free.
We disagree on that fundamentally, and I'm not getting in the same shouting match that we did last time we talked about this.
Okay, here's an alternative. I'm gonna sneak in.
Yeah.
What is the reason that she was picked by the god?
I don't know.
So maybe the reason the god picked her is the same reason he was able to leave the path for her. Maybe she has some psychic ability herself that would be able to pull him out of that. Maybe he didn't choose to. Maybe she pulled him out of the not intentionally.
She just draws people to her. It's a lodestone,
and that's why the god would pick her, is because she's not just the person that happened to have gotten this.
Well, she's a virgin,
and she
that's the most important detail in all of this.
Sure, of course. Well, at least she was until she was touched.
That's right.
By Ynnead. By Ynnead. Yeah, but maybe that's the reason. Her natural charisma of psychic level of charisma pulled him out of the.
She was a warlock too, so she does have powerful enough abilities like that. So
yeah, she was. I believe I read that she started on the path of the dancer, and then the only other paths I know mentioned are warrior and warlock. But apparently, she went over many different paths. Oh, I guess also path of the outcast.
Yeah,
because she was a corsair for a while.
Yeah.
So I think you could make some explanations. I don't know if it's written somewhere that actually explains how that happened. But
that was so mind-blowing, and it just seemed like such an off-the-cuff, he was an Exarch, and then now he's not.
Yeah,
you just overturned 30 years of Eldar lore by saying this.
Yeah, wait, so you can leave.
But the whole thing is, the whole Ynnari thing is that they're breaking 30 years
That's
of
why
tradition.
I am convinced that it specifically had to do with Ynnead. And the idea that he's breaking everything before
bound
him
to this path.
Exactly.
System.
Yeah. Don't live your life by this path. Live your life
Slaanesh
by
isn't
me.
going to eat your soul anymore. I got you.
Yeah. I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Very
But
cool.
yeah, it just how many other people can he pull off that path?
Yeah.
People, and maybe lots of people don't think that's a good thing. I mean, the Exarchs, they were the trainers of your warriors. If you don't have Exarchs anymore, how are you going to train up these warriors to protect you?
They're the ones who hold the knowledge of your shrine, the history of it.
Absolutely. If you don't have Farseers, because Farseers are lost on the path, how are you going to predict the future for your race? How are you going to determine where you need to go? Isn't an Autarch lost? No.
No, an Autarch is just served on. Oh, no, I think it is. No.
Yeah. I think there's enough function for these people that are lost on their paths that if all of a sudden Ynnead comes and starts tearing down all those things, how can old Eldar society function?
Yeah.
It can't.
Autarchs are on the path of command.
That's
They
right.
have
You're
to
right.
master a bunch of different paths.
Yes, they had to have gone on a bunch of different ones. Okay.
But yeah, it's a cool thought that now it's breaking. You can
Yeah.
Soul consumption rates is my next question. How many grots does it take to power an Eldar soul for an hour?
I love the visual of these Aeldari walking through this battlefield and just wisps rising off the bodies beside them, empowering them, shielding them even in this incorporeal inch around their body. Oh,
You could even do
the
that.
the souls around them screaming into the air. Because I read that too. The souls that they're absorbing actually like talk and whisper around them, and it really freaks everyone
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Well, you could even model something like that where you just have like bodies on the ground, and then you model some sort of wisps coming out of them, and then
Yeah, like you take a
absorbing
cotton
it.
strings or something,
Something
and
like that.
yeah, it's
You
like
could do
webs.
something
Oh,
yeah, that'd be cool.
I love that look.
Or you could combine, because there's some like I was just about to say
Night
some
Haunts?
Age of Sigmar
Yeah.
stuff that you could
Yeah, like
pull
those
out
guys.
and just put them around your.
Yeah, you just put the model inside of that as those are circling them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff.
Yeah.
You could, that. Yeah.
Oh.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
getting Eldar.
But yeah, so we talked a lot about like how the Eldar just come back from the dead, but there's limiting factors, man. Like it's not just that. We don't know what the rate is, but it's not a 1-to-1 rate. They're still losing people. Yeah.
Yeah, in this War of the Webway, they lost
50%.
50% of their forces.
Yeah.
That's still a devastating blow to the Eldar race,
Yeah.
who are already in decline.
Yeah. So it's nice. When I started this episode, I was just worried, like you read all the characters and you're like, okay, this one died, okay, this one died, okay, this one died, okay, this one died, but they're all alive.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? But
Yeah.
people are
It-
dying ish.
Yeah, that never changes with Games Workshop. They always write themselves out of real characters dying. Oh my god, I can't think of his name.
Slaanesh.
Calgar.
Yeah, it's Calgar. Who I was thinking of? Calgar is never gonna die. It doesn't matter what he confronts.
Well,
or
they
comes
did
up
kill
with.
Calgar in the.
Yeah, and then they brought him back.
No, they killed Calgar.
Calgar is dead.
Calgar
he died
is
as a
dead.
Young boy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh,
you got
Calgar
me.
is dead.
So even Calgar's died.
You got
Oh my
me.
God. This is insanity, JW.
But
what are you up
okay,
to over there?
Calgar is never gonna die. You know,
Again?
they will always have him there in the story.
Doesn't even know the lore.
But at least with the Ynnari, the reason is fairly simple to understand.
Yeah.
And even though I don't like that they have this power, it's a very clear to understand power.
Yeah.
And they don't have to write shitty fights between people. Like, people can actually die in this, and maybe there's no consequence to it, but I'd rather people die and you have a clear winner versus, they fought for 4 days,
Yeah.
and this guy lost a hand and that guy lost a leg, and then they left.
Then they both got bionics together and went on their way.
Yeah, exactly.
As if nothing happened.
So
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
even though I don't like the fact that there doesn't seem to be as many consequences, I'm okay with how they did it.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't mind it as much learning more and more about it and stuff. It's okay.
And it also makes sense that Yvrainne is going to be really focused on a special couple that she
Yeah.
wants to make sure are always
Sure,
resurrected.
exactly. And they're always around each other, so it's like,
Yeah.
fair enough.
How many grots does it take to power an Eldar for an hour, Mark? How many?
37.
37
We
grots.
did the tests in the
just-
garage. Yeah.
I love the idea of this Eldar just what if they're live people and it's just draining, pulling the souls
like,
out of them.
This is nothing new. Like, the Dark Eldar are doing this essentially already.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
So,
very
dark.
cool.
Very dark.
I did add one extra. Tales from the Warp. Do you guys think they will ever write this story to a completion? Because like this whole storyline is fairly different to a lot of ways they've written things in the past, from my understanding.
Well,
like,
it's a new faction, first of all, and they haven't added a new faction in a long time.
it's a new faction that also kind of chips away at the way Eldar used to be.
Yeah.
So it's already kind of dismantling the old. You can still do the other stuff, but my point is that it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think they would ever write that story to its completion, or is it always obviously or is it never going to happen? It's stuck in the Slaanesh Fortress Palace. It's never coming out.
So here's what I'm thinking. So, like, in AOS, they've essentially gotten rid of Slaanesh. Like, GW has kind of been making a push to, like, tone down definitely the sexuality and the nature, and they're definitely trying to distance themselves from Slaanesh and some of the aspects of it. Now, who knows, in another 10 years, the concept of Slaanesh might be totally revolting, and I could see GW using this as the way out of Slaanesh for 40k.
Yeah, that could be.
But who knows?
They've killed Slaanesh in AOS?
they've trapped it, imprisoned it. They're no longer. I don't think you can use the demons and stuff. It's weird. I'm not an AOS guy, but I know it's a different thing now. Like they've essentially done away with to some degree.
Okay. I like the idea that you could still write a story. Like, or that the story is progressing. I know you're like the setting thing more than the story thing, but I think it's kind of cool the idea that
I don't mind a
go
story
somewhere.
when it has consequences, but they advance the story without advancing it.
Yeah,
That's my issue.
But that's my point is that this one I feel is different because like all the other stuff that they're usually the Imperium stuff, it's all inconsequential.
Yeah.
They upgraded Marines, but the problems nothing's different.
Yeah.
But this does seem like this is totally different.
Yeah, like if this took the next step, Slaanesh would be gone.
But it's growing, and it's like it's evolving. All the Phoenix Lords are on this side. It makes sense that this is like, it feels almost inevitable that these guys will take over at some point.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, the dead still go to this new god. So
yeah, it feels like, say, 5 years from now.
Yeah.
There's no point to not play Ynnari. Just like how like right now,
rules wise, you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I think. Why would you not play Primaris Marines at this point? You know,
because they keep releasing Firstborn Marines, Eric. That's why.
Yeah, but if you want to win, you know, and I feel like that will be an inevitability in terms of this. I think Games Workshop, as a new faction, they are going to focus more on releasing models for this than they will releasing new aspect warriors. And I would bet that you'll see new, like even brand new units that you've never before heard of before you see updated aspect warrior kits. In fact, if they don't start phasing out those aspect warriors soon,
Howling Banshees has got them. So
yeah, but I think that's going to be might be one of the last ones you see.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you do think the story, because of that they might change the story to eventually progress the Ynnari as taking over?
I think that they would progress it to the point of where the Ynnari is the only Aeldari, united Aeldari force. But I don't think they would make this... I don't think they would do that and then turn around and kill Slaanesh.
I just think that would be such an interesting...
I would love to see that.
Could it happen? Would they write that in and then well, just it opens it up. Like when you bring Guilliman back, it's like nothing's different. Yeah. It's nothing's changed. Nothing significant has changed in the way the universe works.
Yeah, there's no balance of power that's shifted.
No, but this is what would it mean if the Eldar are not a dying race anymore? They're they could be a new ascendant thing instead of... I know it would change the aesthetic a lot for a lot of people, and maybe you hate that, maybe you don't. I don't know, but I think it's interesting that they could dangle the possibility. I'd appreciate if they dangled that possibility. Like maybe we will change this. I don't know.
They announced a series where they're actually going to write the Ynnari's campaign through the Palace of Slaanesh.
That'd be sweet.
Write it like the Siege of Terra, almost like it's a big thing, and you're like, it could end up that you just like the Ynnari get wiped out or something.
Oh, that would be cool too.
That would be cool.
And then you go right back. You go right back to the state before, where now the Eldar are just dying again, and they had this massive surge of hope, and now they're even more worse off than before.
Or they could kill Slaanesh.
Yeah,
if they made it a dichotomy between those two, not just status quo, that would be so cool. So I hope they do kind of dangle that. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, like if you write a good story, I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
The problem is,
I could enjoy
a good
either
story.
Yeah,
sure.
I could get behind either.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't think they will. If you're making me choose, I don't think they would kill Slaanesh.
All right, fair enough.
We'll see, man. Times are changing.
That's interesting that you pointed it out. I didn't know that. And
if you look at online community forums and stuff, Slaanesh is not you get the really greasy fucking men who love him. But it's not culturally appropriate.
That's
a lot of the
frustrating.
Concepts. It is
because Slaanesh is awesome,
and we're playing fucking 40K. You're okay with genocide and shit, but you're not okay with a little bit of excess and some transgender titties or whatever the fuck.
Is that is that really the biggest deal here?
Yeah, it's a crazy situation, but there is a push in the community. There's some outcry against the concept of Slaanesh. So who knows as a company what they'll do.
I outcry that outcry.
Ha! Me too, man.
Well, it's interesting. I don't like the idea that it'd be just people being upset with something that made that happen. But if it does allow the universe to change and that just sounds so, it's even the possibility. Like I said, even the chance that they might do that is so interesting. Oh, maybe the world will change a little bit. Something huge could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Anyway,
The gods wax and wane in power, so you could knock a god down a lot of pegs and bump another one up a couple pegs and change the setting drastically, and Slaanesh could even still be around. Like,
sure,
Cool.
in like small little demon pockets in the warp or
Or
whatever.
you know what would be even cool too is if the prophecy just ended up being that they create the new god, but Slaanesh doesn't get destroyed.
And now they have two gods that
Yeah.
are eating their souls.
That
Okay,
could work
that's
too.
I like that. That's the
Because
one.
then you could keep everything together, but also make it super different. It's different, but the same.
Very nice. Well, that was that. That was nice.
Cool. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
And that's
what
why.
is the Ynnari?
Okay, so
Little technical hiccup, but we didn't lose anything, so we're all good. But that actually was the end of the episode.
yeah. And as you can tell, Brant didn't learn anything. His retention was out the window, but it's
I
fine.
didn't learn. I did enjoy myself.
Did you sponge in a bunch of things?
Yes.
Can you recall anything in particular that you thought
He
was
will
interesting?
4 years from now. He'll be
I
like,
know. He regurgitates
Yeah.
information at the weirdest times.
Yeah, so I can't wait for the next time he drops one of these hot facts on me.
Yeah. You're just like with your mom, and he's like, hey, remember that time that Kaiganil, the Harlequin, promised a solitaire?
That's
What
kind
happened
of like
with that?
exactly like the situation we find ourselves in.
First, I have to just process the separation of all the Ynnari that I learned coming into this forehand, and then parse it out to what I learned actually, what I was supposed to be learning.
Should we just do another episode where you tell us about the Ynnari you learned about?
It's
could
just
do
this
one of
Russian
those.
girl who has a Facebook account that he spent like 3 hours.
I
looking
love
at.
you. I will marry you.
Where do you live? Canada?
Wow,
Tell
I
me
bet
about
you're
your
big and
people,
strong.
Cool. Well, that was the Ynnari episode. Yeah, I don't know. I normally have like a takeaway that I take away, or I can't wait to do a miniature like this. Maybe the ghost swirling around the models is something
That's
that
not
needs to
terrible.
happen.
Yeah.
That's pretty inspiring.
Would I be able to pull that off with my banshees? My
Yes.
Howling banshees? Could I? Would
Yes.
they?
Why
If they
not?
were Ynnari? Would
Yeah,
they?
of course.
Oh, okay. Well,
They would have, you
Okay.
assume, access to the very similar powers. So,
Yeah.
For me, I was much happier doing this episode than I thought I was going to be. I was convinced that there wasn't enough, and that the fact that they could just raise people from the dead was just going to be too much of a trope for me to get past.
Yeah.
But I like that it seems to not work all the time,
Yeah.
and it feels like it's left open that there may be. I hope they write in a consequence for coming back from the dead.
Yeah. You've seen things on the other
Though
side.
you're in the warp. How do you
Yeah.
not go insane from being in there? So
Well, Slaanesh
You come
might-
back and your only emotion is the last emotion you had.
pain,
Oh,
agony.
And that's the only thing you can
Oh,
have.
that'd be
you
pretty
got
brutal.
stuck.
Or like you have like Slaanesh gets a little part of you in like maybe that you might not be on the side you thought they were. Like maybe because that's what some people thought, right?
Yeah, they assume that maybe your body is taken over by, or something has
Maybe.
been added to your spirit, or something is taken away.
they weigh them before and after. They weigh 0.001 more.
Yes, this is the
What
weight
did
of
you
one
add?
soul.
Yeah.
Oh no, you weigh a little more than a soul.
You have to know the weight of a soul if you're going to be burning so many of them.
Well, yeah.
You don't wanna
How
get your
much energy
calculations
does
wrong.
a burnt soul give off?
You need to know the weight.
Good soup. Burnt soul soup. Okay, but before we actually end the episode, we have a mountain of new patrons to thank.
Yeah. If you have made it this far in the episode, come on, give us some money. Like we just, come on, support the shows. It really helps us continue doing it. So
Yeah. I'm just going to start, and I'm going to go down the list, and it's going to be long, but you know what? You're going to fucking enjoy it.
joining us today is the Smooth Sounds of Eric. Take it away.
All right. Thank you to Nick, Cyborg, Kellen, Jacob, Squash Room, Mason, Farron, Mateo, Laurent, Zachary, Big Dick Dave the Mr. Fister, Odd J, Dommy Mommy, Char, Nicholas, Roman, Snapjaw, Tim, Skreeg God Emperor of the Tyranids, first of the Hormagaunts, progenitor of the hive mind.
Nice.
Doc is allergic to bees. Alex. Solitaire. Can you scroll down? My one is just frozen. There we go.
Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Caleb. Trevor Buzak. Oh, okay. Mystic Mind. Jay. Cameron. Damien. Sebastian. Joey. Morgamus. You can add anus to just about any word.
And it becomes magical.
Yeah. Nathan. Inanke. Fiery. Jesper. Emmett. Jaden. Stefan. Jack. Christopher. Arcblade. Quinn. T.Y. Ronosaur. Crotolid Dundee. Trevor. Jason. Devin. Magnus. Gitchapole. Sloth. Empty Illusion. W.D. Gaster. Ethan. Victor. Alberta. Trifecta Standard Gaming Studios. Okay. Patroni Tony.
It's Patreoni Tony.
Patreoni Tony. You want to take over?
Bloobsbury. Mel Big Boss D. Bloodbeater. Matthew. Fisto. John. Dave. Uh-oh. I lost my place after Dave.
Mr. Andrew. Nathan. Nan. Gross Giant. Tim Bombadil.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Mitch the Dungeon Master. Lloyd. Cam. Ulf. Maximalosk. Sam Zam Boom 98. Jordan. Damien. Devin. Sage-91. Robert. Zachary. X. FATX.
That's Elon Musk's kid.
That's his child? Yeah. Kalen, Matthew, Graham, Mason, Kevin, Hunter, Jeffrey, F. Gicliu, Savage, Richard, Jascha, Carson, and Josh.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone who has supported our Patreon, who just joined our list. Means a lot to us. Continues.
It really does.
Letting us do what we do.
We'd be homeless otherwise, especially me.
So
Brant
sad.
lives off Patreon money. I have a brother to support.
You have a dependent.
Yeah.
Thank you, James, for joining us for the episode.
That was fun.
It was
a pleasure.
fun.
We'll have to have you back.
Thank you,
Anytime.
Brant, for showing up, honestly.
You can send our mother this episode, and she will be so proud of you.
Yeah.
You
did a
specifically.
great job,
You did
Brant.
fantastic work.
I put 100% effort in everything I do,
And it
other than
shows.
work.
I would say, out of the four of us, you did the best tonight.
Thank you.
Does that mean anything?
Yeah, it means I was the best.
Oh, there you go. And thank you to you guys, our listeners, for hanging out with us for another 2 solid hours of bullcrap.
Jeez.
Thank you to people watching us, I guess. We have a camera. Do we wave at the camera? Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see you guys next time.
On the flippity flop, let me know what you want to hear next. I'm thinking maybe Tau 4th Sphere of Expansion.
Do you hate me?
I'll leave it on that.
I'll see you in the warp.
Just a little kiss, eh? Whew.